All right, welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Little Froggy over here.
Who's my new co-host over here today?
Kermit the Frog here.
Little bit froggy this morning. It sounds like I went and blew it out last night, doesn't it? Like, oh, man, Woodsy must have had a good one last night.
Saturday's finally catching up to you a week later.
My Lord, dude. Today is National Vasectomy Day, and I should have gotten one. Because my kids have me in the chamber right now, the literal chamber.
Should have had one
7 years ago.
a long time ago. No,
Joking, obviously. I love my kids. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods. It's Friday, thank God. I'm Woodsy. That's Paulie. That's Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And yeah, man, like I'm firmly implanted in the chamber right now. My wife left yesterday for New York. I don't know how you single parents do it. I've got one sick baby, and I've got one very weepy, very upset 6-year-old that his mom has gone to New York. And I thought, he'd get over it a little bit, and we'd FaceTime and everything. It's not. He's calling me here this morning, called me here yesterday, wept basically the entire day when I picked him up yesterday, wept when he went to bed, and now my throat has closed up. So I got nothing. Like it's a tough day.
Just curious. So, is Hannah like off limits? Can he not call her? Even though, she's actually 3 hours ahead.
She is, easier. And he did. Okay. He called her. I got a text from her. So no, definitely not. She doesn't leave and then shut down. But what I don't do when she's gone. What I don't do. Hey, Bo's she does it to me. I don't do it to her. Hey, Bo's really being difficult. Taylor's really sick. Like, I'm not trying to make her feel guilty when she goes because, listen, let's be honest, Paulie. What do we got? About 8 weeks, and then we leave for a week? You know what I mean? Like, We're gone for a week. We're gone Friday to Friday, and I don't want that thrown back on me. You know what I mean? So, and then
I'm not going to. So quit asking.
I woke up this morning and I just couldn't breathe. My throat closed up. I'm like, but I don't feel bad. I feel great mentally, physically, other than my throat, feeling like it's about that, that much open, just tiny. So we got to figure it out, man. We got to figure it out. Oh, yeah. And Tier 1B George says, and this is the Woods that the afternoon audience will hear today. Welcome to the Ben and Woods program because we will be replaying this show. Yeah, good afternoon. We'll be replaying this show later in the day.
About that drive home, am I right?
Is it still slick out there? It's weird, right? When you're being replayed.
That's a good point. I hadn't even thought about that.
I know.
So we're actually on right now. It's a little after 2 in the afternoon.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
this
weekend. I can taste it. It is almost there, everybody. You're just at the verge of getting to Saturday. This is amazing.
So I gotta get it dialed in. I gotta get it figured out. You guys saw it. My phone rang. Hello? Again? You're still...
I was like, oh, no. My man's in the blender.
He's 6. Then I go, again? Yes. Okay, what is it?
Welcome to the torture chamber.
I just can't get through it. I go, you absolutely can. You can and you will, and you're going to be fine. And I'll see you in 6 hours, and we'll go to Belmont Park and play laser tag or something. You're
to be fair, again, is probably not in the parenting handbook.
No, it's not.
Sensitively dealing with your children.
It's tough. Well, after 24 hours, it's absolutely. After 24 hours, it's absolutely in the parenting handbook. We had the talk last night. We had the talk this morning. He got up at 5. I said, hey, I need you to be strong and just go to school, go play with your friends, and I'll pick you up and we'll jam, right? 24 hours of this, man. You're going to get me. You guys know how I am. I'm good for a while, but once you keep needling, once you keep asking, once you keep coming at me, then you're dead. For example, a couple years ago, you guys know the story of Period Man. Remember Period Man? My friend Stewie got a DM from a guy, and he said, hey, Woodsy, just bought a Fernando Tatis Jr. jersey, but they forgot to put the period on it. You think you could run down? I don't know him, by the way.
Yeah, this is important.
This is not a story. This isn't Ben or Paul. I don't know this guy. Do you think you could run down to the team store, pick me up a period? This is a true story. I showed you guys the DMs, though you didn't think I was crazy. I wrote back, what are you talking about? Well, at the end, JR period, they didn't put the period on. I need you, a stranger that I listen to on the radio, to drive down to the team store and ask them, can I just buy one single period? And then ship it to you? So this kind of stuff happens to me all the time. So I write back once nicely, and then he's kind of keeps at it for a while. And I was like, bro, I'll kill you. I mean, I will absolutely kill you. And it's happening again. It's happening again. Not from him, somebody did.
Okay, I was going to say.
No,
same
God,
guy?
no.
New person. New punctuation mark?
I got no. So I get a text from a friend. Now I know this guy. I've played baseball with him, and he's coming out to fantasy camp in January. And
First timer.
You've never seen someone more excited, which I'm into. You should be. It's a great time, and he's a good player. So he writes me the other day, "Hey, do you know what uniforms we're going to be wearing when we're out there?" I'm not the coordinator. I'm just a radio host here that's going to go and play like I do every year. I don't coordinate fantasy camp. We get an email a week. If you look through there, I said, I don't know, man. I think it's in the email. I just show up. Like, I show up and go. So then he writes back, yes, a couple days ago. Hey, buddy. Hope all's well with you and the family. And again, I'm still excited for January's Fantasy Padres camp.
As you should be.
I wanted to ask to see if you had any connections for Padres colored cleats or any kind of custom stuff. I see some things online and on Instagram, but I wanted to reach out to you first since you're connected with the organization better than I am. Let me know what you think. Let me get Eric Grupner on the line. Hey, bud, how are you? Do you have any custom stuff for this total stranger that I can get to him? ASAP, I'll ship it. I'll come down and get it, and then I'll ship it to him.
He really likes Fernando's Victus bat.
Yeah, do you have any of those lying around? So then I wrote back, no, I don't have any connections to get custom stuff, right?
Oh, God.
And I said, so I just wrote back, I don't have any connections. He said, well, like, bro, you know I want to look fresh when I'm out there. It's important to me, and I want to match. I go, then have at it. Go do what you have to do to make sure you look good. Why in the world would you come to me to ask me how to dress you when you go to fantasy camp? On what planet?
It starts and stops when he goes, I've been seeing a lot of things online.
If you saw
like,
it,
well, then go buy those.
Just buy it. Buy it. So then he sends me a picture of one that he saw. I'm trying to find some of these. You sent me the picture with the mother effing price on it. You found it. But pay for it. Look. What's it say? What's it say?
Says it's $200. You got the cleats right there.
There you go.
Pretty cool looking,
You found
actually.
them. You found them.
But you might
Mission accomplished.
You might be able to find them for $189.99 somewhere.
Says trying to find some of these. I read that we cannot use metal spikes. Can you confirm that? Did you read it? It's confirmed. Confirmed in the email.
Hey, I read in the fantasy camp guidelines that were sent to me that you can't wear metal spikes. Can you confirm?
Confirmed! No, they were lying to you. They wanted to do riddles and mysteries. It's a scavenger hunt. And all you have to do is come to me for the real clues and answers. That's the whole gist of it. Then when you show up, come find me. I'll take you to your locker. Why do people do this to me? Why?
You're the man of the people.
Leave me alone. I just want to be left alone. Leave me alone. I can't stand it. Why? Yeah, I was wondering. I found some that I like. Was wondering if you could find them. I don't understand. You found it. Just buy it. If you like those cleats, then buy it. Why are you sending me the pictures of you're a grown man? He's older than I am.
Steve in our chat, he's a little busy today. He wants to know if you can pick up his dry cleaning on the way home.
And that you start piling texts and stuff like these on with what's going on in the real world, in real life, and like with your kids and stuff, and them not feeling well, and you not feeling well, and your wife being out of town. and you're like, I may not make it back. I may not make it back.
So you need a nice, relaxing weekend.
Do you know how impossible that's going to be? Unless I hit my kids on the head with a hammer and go to prison. The only place I'm going to get any rest is if I go to prison. That's it. In solitary. Sign me up right now. Paulie, I don't know what to do. I get these requests. Remember, I had the guy that texted me that one time, and he goes, "Hey, I know you met Jack White 10 years ago. He's on tour. Do you think you can get me tickets?" I'm like, I shook his hand in a restaurant. What do you want me to do? I swear to God. This stuff never ends, man. It never ends. So if you're listening, I really appreciate you listening to the show, guys. Please leave me alone, and especially when I'm not doing super great right now. Leave me alone. I'm begging you. Don't ask me for anything right now. I'm begging you.
JH619 in our YouTube chat asks, how would Ben handle this?
You would never respond.
I would just pretend I never got the email or the message. Like, oh no, guess it didn't come through, and you would never hear from me. That's how I handle things like that. And then of course I never get them because people know I'm not as friendly as Woods is. I'm not as personable.
Do I sound friendly
not
right
this
now?
morning.
Once I get pushed, though, I'm friendly until I hit my limit. Once I hit my limit, I'm done.
I don't know how this is hitting at 2:12 in the afternoon, but I know how it's hitting at 6:12 this morning.
It's insane. He's insane. These people are insane. I can't imagine. I always, when I get one like I put myself in those shoes, and I can't imagine. Now I know him. It's not like Stewie, who was just listening to me on the radio. That one was super. Now I know this dude, and I know I've known him for a while, and I know he's super fired up to come, and that's great. Leave me out of it. Like, you can be excited. Tell your wife how excited you are. Have her help you pick out the cleats.
We'll see you out there.
I'll see you out there, man. We're going to do a whole week with him. It's so bad. I ran into Tim Flannery yesterday, picking up the kids at school. I told Flan about him. And Flan goes, "Oh, I don't want guys like that on my team." I go, "He's really good. He's a really good pitcher." And he goes, "Yeah, no, I don't want that." Dude,
I mean, you're a good player. You're the first player ever traded in fantasy.
Correct.
Camp. It doesn't matter sometimes with these managers.
He's going to dot me in the back if he listens to this. But I don't care. Just leave me alone. I'm begging you, man. Leave me alone. I'll see you at fantasy camp. We'll have a great time together. Make sure your locker is at the ass end other part of the locker room. Please. And now I'll beat myself up, Ben, because I feel like I've been mean. So there you go.
That is really the rub for Woodsy.
Every
because
time.
Now you're going to feel guilty about it.
Got
too.
people asking for some Clippers tickets. If you don't mind. Somebody needs help changing their flat tire.
Can you guys imagine sending these texts to someone?
Carlos would like a car from Sedano Ford.
I
You
still
can just make that happen.
I still don't understand the connections with custom stuff. Like, you want me to go get you custom Padres gear from my connections? My connections are Eric Group. Should I text Schulte? Hey, is there anything laying around the clubhouse?
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
I'm good, Schulte. Do you have any like brown and yellow stuff? I think we're wearing the pinstripe sands. Did anybody leave anything around that I can come down? No, I can't come down and grab it today?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, man. Well, sorry to ask. It's actually not for me. It's for a guy that lives across the country.
Of course.
Right. But I do feel like a huge jackass asking you.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're heading back to North Carolina at some point anyway, could you just drop it off for him on his way back? Skip.
Hey, Woodsy, it's your pal. Do you think Schilt could bring me a box of stuff on his way back? Feels good to get it off your chest a little bit. So
That was 15 minutes. We got another 3 hours and 45. Are you going to be okay?
I think so.
You going to make it here today?
It's not me. I'm worried. It's my kids I'm worried about. Good Lord. It's
all
all falling apart.
We will set the menu for the program. Also, some exciting news. We have a couple of pairs of tickets for Monday's showdown between San Diego State and number 4 Gonzaga. So
Now, this is where it's going to get weird when this replays
right
in the afternoon.
Well, you know what? I don't mind. If you're listening in the afternoon, we've already given away the tickets. But go ahead and call in. I mean, the phone will ring probably. Otherwise, if you're listening live in the morning, You're going to have a chance to win coming up next. Our first pair of tickets for Monday night's game at Viejas Arena. It is all coming up next. A quick check of traffic with Kelly Danick, and we will try to fix Woods and his mentals this morning.
My mentals are great. Leave me alone. Quit asking me for stuff.
And we'll be back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino.
Got to enjoy a lunch with our brand manager, boss Adam, yesterday.
How'd that go?
So it was pleasant. We got invited by the new athletic director. Well, he's been on the job for about a year, but hasn't had a chance to meet some of the local members of the media. So Kimya Massey, who's the athletic director at USD, did kind of a luncheon. Had some of the members of the media there to talk about just like, the program and media issues.
Weird, I didn't get an invite.
Did you not get an invite?
No.
They would have loved to have had you.
Oh, I bet they would have.
Get your thoughts on USD athletics. So, Adam came with me, and we sat in the hospitality suite at Fowler Park, which is just what a brilliant ballpark that is.
We got to play there for was it fantasy camp? Yeah, we got to play there for fantasy camp.
If you haven't ever been, there's like dorms just beyond the right field fence,
So
which
sick.
have to be, at least in my mind, maybe the coolest dorms in America. If you could actually have a window that overlooks the ballpark and live there while you're in college, what a gorgeous campus
Great
that is.
campus.
The facilities are absolutely top notch, and he was talking about some of the things that they're doing, just trying to get the message out about USD. It gets, and even a town like San Diego may not be Los Angeles or New York, but there's, 3 Division I programs here. There's a bunch of Division II schools. It's tough to kind of break through the noise a little bit. So I appreciated the invitation, and they had, catered spread of sandwiches and salads and stuff. And I was a little surprised because Adam wouldn't touch any of the food. And I was going like, this is good stuff. It's got good selection of sandwiches, good salad.
What is happening?
And
Really?
he said, I just don't know what's on it. There's like,
Oh my
could be
god!
mayonnaise. There
Can
could
I
be.
get this with no tomatoes?
Yeah,
Oh my god!
I didn't realize that Adam
was
is such
6.
a picky eater.
Hey, can you cut the crust off?
He didn't complain. He just sat there without any food while the rest of us ate, and I felt bad for him.
Whoa. Don't feel bad for it. If he had a broken jaw and he couldn't eat, then
feel
you're like,
bad for
oh, I
him,
feel
right.
terrible. We're all enjoying these delicious sandwiches. Don't feel bad for a grown man that's like, I don't like mustard. I don't
Do you
like
only have sourdough?
What a nightmare he must be to eat out in public with. Do you have to drizzle butter on that steak, or can I get that without it? I don't really like sprigs of rosemary. Can you take those sprigs off, please? You know it. You know it's happening. You know it's happening. So he just sat like arms folded and didn't eat.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It's a sandwich.
it was just, a variety of different sandwiches, but it wasn't build your own, so you had to just eat what
You just
was
grab
on
what's
there.
there.
And I did.
I'm dead, dude. What a gold mine he is. He's a bigger gold mine than you are. He's unbelievable. So is he? I'm wondering. Is it It's not nutrition.
No. Because he said, "Is there anywhere around here I can go get lunch afterwards?"
You
so
are kidding me.
I sent him to JV's Taco Shop, which is a great institution there on Moreno, right by USD. I said, yeah, big portions, you're going to like it. He said, oh, great. That's perft for me.
He is wild,
But
dude.
wouldn't eat the sandwiches.
That's unreal.
Is that rude not to eat the sandwiches that are provided at a luncheon?
Gosh, a good question. Is it rude? I don't
I
know
guess
that
not.
rude
I mean,
is. If
he
you're
didn't
not
complain, so
he was hungry though. That's
he
the
was
thing.
hungry. He was hungry.
God, I'm dying. To spurn your nose at a sandwich. It's a sandwich. I mean, when you're placing an order for a luncheon, you're like,
They were kind of gourmet sandwiches.
sure, but
yeah.
like what you don't do is you're like, ooh, I know what we'll do. Let's do duck l'orange for everyone. No, like you're like, let's get sandwiches because everybody likes sandwiches. You ever met anybody that didn't like sandwiches? My wife's not the biggest fan, I'll be honest.
I mean, when I
They're the
was like
best.
8, I wasn't a big sandwich kid.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like I
Even
didn't
peanut
like
butter and
PB
jelly?
and no, I didn't
I
like
still
peanut butter
don't
and jelly.
like
I still
PB&J.
love
Can't
PB&J.
stand it, to be
Not
honest.
a
But
PB and J guy.
Sandwiches
never a
are
fan.
some of the best food options out there.
It's
at
just
least to me.
it covers everything.
I could have a sandwich at 5 a.m. before the show.
Yep.
I could have one at 8 o'clock at night.
Yep, midnight.
Anywhere
drunk
in between.
3 a.m.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
it's always good.
You can get a meal in your sandwich, like meatballs. You can get steak in your sandwich. That's a meal. You can get something light. You can just get, BLT or something, like something, a club sandwich, whatever. There's so many different options. What kind of
Grilled
sandwiches?
cheese is elite. They were from Urbane Cafe.
Oh, I've had it. It's down
And,
there in Linda Vista. I've had it before. It's pretty good.
It's a chain. I think there's a few of them. But I had a steak chimichurri sandwich, which was really outstanding.
God, I bet that was good.
I thought it was.
What else did they
I
have?
thought it was delicious. There was like a barbecue chicken one.
I've
Like
had
a,
that
a
one. That's good.
pesto and sun-dried tomato kind
Okay,
of.
I'll pass on that
A
one.
vegetarian option. I was like 3 or 4. Something with turkey. I don't know. I couldn't even see. There were enough options. Like should have covered everybody, but it didn't cover Adam.
He is unreal. He's unreal. He's just a treasure trove of information and a wealth of content.
But
So he just sat there.
He sat there, contributed, and asked, answered some questions.
Yeah.
But we had a nice lunch. I'm sorry you didn't get an invitation.
I'm used to it at this point. It's all right.
All right, here's what we've got coming up on the program today. Last night I did watch, I may be the only person in America, the All-MLB Awards live from Las Vegas.
I saw you live tweeting it. I would have liked to, but I was wiping snot and tears
It
all
was,
night. So.
I was doing a service. It was not a good broadcast.
I
It
kept
was-
hearing that. I want you to
it
walk.
was
walk me,
painful.
Walk me through it.
I'll-
Walk me
I'll-
through the winners.
I'll walk you through what I sat through last night. There was some Padres representation and a couple of impressive awards handed out last night, so we'll get you updated on yesterday. Padres also did make technically like a first move, a signing, not something that I believe is significant, but if you missed it, we will let you know what A.J. Preller accomplished yesterday. Coming up in our 7 o'clock hour, there was a Thursday night football game last night, maybe a surprising outcome to some, not as much to others between the Commanders and the Eagles. We'll talk a little bit of football. Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas at 7:10, and then at 7:20, don't do this. I don't think we can avoid it. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. I thought maybe it would just kind of, go under the radar. People wouldn't care, but everyone's talking about the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. Correct? I mean,
Yes.
at work last night, everyone was asking, are you going to watch? What's your plan? Like, who do you think is going to win? Somehow this has cut through the noise, and this is now a thing tonight. People are planning,
Some
their
updates from
nights around it.
yesterday, too.
They had a weigh-in, which, as you'd imagine, there was some spiciness to it, and I guess we can't really avoid the topic. It's a thing, whether you want it to be or not. Mike Tyson is going to be in the ring tonight in AT&T Stadium against Jake Paul.
Real quick, I know we'll get to this in depth later this morning. This is what everybody wanted from this, right? Not us, the consumer, but Jake Paul and Mike Tyson
Yes.
and Netflix and the boxing world
Correct.
in general. Because what are we doing? We're talking about boxing. Whether it's fabricated, Mike Tyson, 60-year-old Mike Tyson versus some YouTube streamer. If that's how you view it, fine. Either way, you're talking about boxing on a Friday, which we don't usually do.
I don't really care much about the outcome. All I care about is replaying that interview that he did yesterday with like a 12-year-old girl.
We will do that as
and
well.
dissecting it for 45 minutes. I have never in my life seen anything like what I saw yesterday. It was incredible. I must have listened to it 50 times.
I mean, the outcome is irrelevant.
Correct.
It's not going to decide any, big-time heavyweight championship of the world. It's undoubtedly problematic.
Undoubtedly.
And the fact that there's so much interest in it is a bit of an indictment of where we are
Correct.
as a society.
As a society. Yeah. I mean, Hawk 2 is number 2 podcast in the world. So,
But that's where we are here on a Friday.
Yep.
So, and if you're driving home right now on our afternoon replay, you're heading home, getting ready to fire up the Netflix
Yeah.
and maybe turn it on.
you're only a couple hours away.
We'll talk about it coming up at 7:35. We've got our second half of the show. We've got Paulie Rindle's Rindle Report. We will get you some more Aztecs tickets. In fact, let's give away the first pair right now to Monday night's showdown
Let's
at
go.
Viejas Arena. Yeah, number 4, Gonzaga coming to town to take on San Diego State. Biggest non-conference home game of the season. And we've got 2 tickets to give away right now. If you're listening live in the morning, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We'll take the 5th caller. Start dialing your chance to win San Diego State basketball tickets for what is undoubtedly going to be a raucous environment at Viejas Arena. I'm planning to be there on Monday as well.
You're so lucky, man. I'd love to go to that game.
Looking forward to it. So call in now, and we will come back with some Padres talk, MLB awards show, and more next here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Congratulations to Tim. Won our first pair of San Diego State basketball tickets. But don't despair. If you're not Tim, we will have another pair to give away in the second half of Ben and Woods later this morning.
Look forward to that.
So we will talk about congratulations will be in order for several Padres who were honored last night at the All-MLB awards ceremony. I didn't realize it was like an Oscars show live from the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas last
There in
night.
a week and a half.
Oh, look at you. I had one of the best nights of my life at the Cosmopolitan.
Never stayed there before. Very excited.
Could
for
only
it.
share that story on a podcast.
Cosmo is a good place. I will
great
I will
place.
agree with both of you there.
So I didn't know these were happening. I had less than zero. We did not mention it yesterday. I did not see one bit of promotion for it. The first I saw of it was you tweeting about it.
It's possible they didn't promote it because they weren't necessarily proud of the content.
There's no chance.
It was not good. I will share.
Leave it to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Just not even
Just
mentioned.
not even mentioned.
Since I may have been the only person watching, I will share some of what I saw.
Thanks for doing this for everybody. You watching that so we don't have to. Thank you.
After a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
So much for Friday-like conditions, guys. We've got numerous problems here. One is a crash with Claremont Mesa Boulevard off-ramp, North 805. Also an accident northbound 15 past Friars Road. That is over to the right shoulder. Traveling on eastbound 8 before Waring Road, we have reports of some large tire tread to watch out for. The slow lane. Westbound side of the 52 at the South 5 connector ramp, we have reports of a stalled vehicle. In the North County, southbound side of the 15, West Bernardo off-ramp a crash, and getting reports of a stalled vehicle on the Ted Williams Parkway on-ramp to southbound 15. And Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So apparently this was the second annual All-MLB Live Award Show, which means they must have done one last year as well.
Yep.
Didn't remember it, but Major League Baseball trying to extend the conversation of the season and turn this into a thing. Now, their awards are not the big awards. Those are the Baseball Writers Association of America awards, which will be announced next week. One per day, starting with the Rookie of the Year on Monday, Manager of the Year, Cy Young, MVP next Thursday. So we'll find those out next week. But MLB does give out some of their own awards, including naming a first and second team All-MLB squad. So best and second best players essentially at every position. Also gave out the Reliever of the Year awards, including the Trevor Hoffman Award.
Like that.
Which Trevor Hoffman recorded a little presentation for. The Mariano Rivera Award and the Comeback Player of the Year awards in both the American and the National League. So they do a little like a cold open, like Harold Reynolds outside the Cosmopolitan. Hey, we're all going in here, and there was attempts at comedy. The host was, his name's Roy Wood Jr.
Oh,
I
I
believe.
love Roy Wood Jr. He's hysterical.
He was on the Daily Show. It wasn't his fault. I think he did the best he could.
Bro,
but
he's got some of the funniest prank calls in the history of the universe. He's brilliant.
They hosted it in what was like this giant convention center ballroom. But it felt like an empty airplane hangar because they had like felt like a dozen tables inside this gigantic room with a few baseball players. Dylan Cease was there from the Padres.
Nice.
Mookie Betts was there. Tommy Pham was there. There were
Vegas. He's from Vegas. He
there
lives
were a
in
few
Vegas.
players, a few CC Sabathia, a few ex-players during the telecast, and they tried to do some comedy bits like pretending. Yeah, Roy Wood was pretending to have to insult Gary Sheffield, and Gary Sheffield was just holding a bat and just staring him down, and he couldn't do it. Like, I can't say anything mean about Gary Sheffield.
couldn't
He's
either.
staring me down right now. So they tried to make it into kind of like an Oscars sort of thing. But when you don't have the atmosphere, you don't have a full room, it just sounds kind of echoey and hollow, and a few of the bits kind of fell flat, which it always happens in those award shows. It's really hard to pull those off, I think. But they did announce the awards, and 4 Padres did receive second team All-MLB honors, including Jackson Merrill, which, when you think about it, that means second team All-MLB. That means he's one of the 6 best outfielders in baseball this past
It's
season.
amazing, man. Amazing.
That is incredible.
It's truly
No,
incredible.
I mean, not just because he was a
This
rookie.
is Jackson Merrill.
Not having played the position until spring training, and he showed up and given the task to try to learn center field on the fly. against the best players in the world. And at the end of that season, they determined that, yeah, you were actually one of the 6 best on the planet. In the outfield, a position you have never played before is absolutely incredible.
Bro, it would be insane if he came up as a center fielder and made second team. You know what I mean? If he was the Padres
Top
sensation
center field prospect.
yeah, exactly. And he goes out there and has the season he has, that would be remarkable in its own right. But the fact that he had never played it until we saw him at spring training is just staggering. So, again, we talk about him all the time. The sky is the limit for that kid.
It's also pretty incredible that Manny Machado was named the second-team All-MLB third baseman, behind only Jose Ramirez of the Guardians, which means even though he had elbow surgery, even though he had a terrible first couple of months of the season, Manny was still the second-best third baseman in baseball and the best third baseman in the National League this year.
No doubt.
You know, people talk about Manny's contract being, you know, it's too long, it's too much. He's not worth that kind of money.
We ain't there yet.
And yet, even in a season where he was set up to have probably the worst season of his career, he was still the best third baseman in the National League.
No doubt.
That's remarkable and a testament to Manny and what he can do.
All you have to do is watch. I mean, it's really all you have to do. Is just watch. Watch the games. Watch what he brings. You know, is he perfect player? No, he's not. You know, did he struggle in the postseason? Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, with the start he got off to, managing to play 152 games, hit 29 bombs, 105 RBI, and the defense that he played. I know, you know, the defensive metrics and his range and maybe balls he doesn't get to, but if I'm a pitcher, there's nobody on the planet I want there. Nobody. They hit it down there, you're pretty much going to get that out.
And then
I was at one game last year where it was like he kind of had to jump, like it was like a half jump, and it went right off his glove. And I was sitting down the third baseline. Remember that?
Yeah, it's jarring.
And the ball just trickled into the left field.
Jarring.
And I was sitting there, we were down the left field line, down the third baseline with my wife, and I go, oh my God.
Yeah, it was like,
that's like you might have a better chance of winning the lottery than being at a game and watching Manny Machado make a routine error.
Remember the throwing error in the playoffs?
Yeah.
It was like,
it's
like
jarring.
it shocks you.
It wasn't like he laid out and it went off his glove or whatever. It's right at him.
Right
You're
at
like,
him.
That you may never see that again.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And then 2 Padres pitchers were named second-team All-MLB. Both Dylan Cease and Michael King were honored. So there are 5 first-team starting pitchers and 5 second-team starting pitchers, which means if both of those guys come back and they are both under team control for next season, Padres will have 2 of the 10 best starting pitchers in baseball to anchor their rotation next year. Pretty good, actually, when you think about it, what the Padres have coming back in all 4 of those guys. 4 second-team All-MLB selections that should all be on the roster for next year.
Yeah, it's great. That's great. I mean, I don't know how much these awards. It's nice to be recognized always, and you know they're picking up some hardware right now. I know it's not the hardware they wanted to pick up, certainly, but it's a good place to be. Good place to be, having good players on your team. You know, you're never going to complain about it.
Emmanuel Clase won the Mariano Rivera Award as the AL Reliever of the Year. Ryan Helsley won the Trevor Hoffman Award, with Trevor recording a little intro going, hey, and he even comes out to my Hells Bells music. Congratulations to Ryan Helsley.
Great idea, Ryan.
The winner of the Trevor Hoffman Award as the National League Reliever of the Year. And then Comeback Player of the Year, Chris Sale won it in the National League. Jurickson Profar, I believe, was one of the finalists. Chris Sale got it. I can't say that that's a bad choice. Chris Sale had an amazing season. They often tend to lean toward players who were injured and come back versus ones who just had bad seasons.
Struggled,
and came back. So I'm not outraged that Jurickson didn't get it. He was certainly a worthy candidate, after having a really tough 2023 with the Rockies and such an outstanding year with the Padres, but not going to stomp my feet and go Jurickson was robbed of that award.
Yeah.
There were some weird, when I tweeted that, I got a lot of Dodger fan mentions going like, whoa, Jurickson Profar, why would he win Comeback Player of the Year award? What did he come back from? Well, I mean, he came back from a terrible season. He had like the lowest like negative WAR of any player
Yeah,
in
like one of the worst,
2023.
if not the worst player in baseball.
And was an all-star and hugely important piece of the San Diego Padres and had a career year last year. So he bounced back from something, maybe not a season-ending injury or something of, the effect that Chris Sale had, but he certainly bounced back from something. The other argument I heard was he ever good enough to be the comeback player of the year? Do you have to be good at some point, then either get bad or get hurt and then come back to that level?
I mean, because
Jurickson it was on an upward rise. He was a different player this last year.
Chris Sale has been that, right?
He
I think
has.
everyone could agree
And
on
now
that.
he has come back to being that this past season.
Could you imagine your team wins a World Series and you giving a frog's fat ass about Jurickson Profar winning a comeback? To even comment after you finally win a World Series that counts, and you actually give a...
They hate him so much now.
They hate everyone.
They do. It makes me want to bring Jurickson back even more.
I know,
though,
just to
how much he
needle
gets
them.
under their skin.
Oh, it's so good.
That's a value that you've got in Jurickson Profar.
You win a World Series, and you're upset that Jurickson Profar is even mentioned. Not win it.
I also had someone who said Jurickson's season was a fluke. Can an entire season be a fluke? I mean, you have a hot month. You can maybe say, it was kind of a fluky month. You can't have a fluky season.
Well, he didn't have he fell off. I mean, he had a great first half.
No, I mean, he cooled off at the end. But
Yeah.
when you put numbers up for an entire season,
Sure.
it's never a fluke. He actually played and earned what he got this last season.
Correct. I don't know that
I mean,
you...
if you had a 600 BABIP and everything was
Right.
just bleeding in, you could go, some of those numbers were a little fluky.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was the case with Jurickson.
I don't either.
He had 24 home runs.
Played
was
good
driving
defense.
runs in.
Yep.
Played solid defense. It wasn't a fluky
No,
season.
yeah.
It was an unexpectedly good season. And I don't know that he's going to replicate it again, but that doesn't make it a fluke.
I think that I would push back. I'd say if you're a career, I don't. This is not for Profar. If you're a career 230 hitter, 230 hitter, and 9 home runs, that's kind of your average season. And then 1 year you hit 285 and 22 home
That's an
runs.
outlier.
It's an outlier.
It's an outlier, but it's not a fluke. Jurickson,
They're kind of the same, aren't they?
No, I don't think so. I think over a whole year, Jurickson gets credit. He did the work, put in the work, pulled it off. Stayed with what his philosophy was. Hey, this is who I'm going to be this year. I'm going to stick with it. It worked for him. That's not a fluke. That's executing your plan the way you wanted to execute it over the course of the season.
Yeah, you can have a fluky game. You can have a
of
real
course.
fluky game.
Of
I mean, those
You
are
have a fluky week.
fluky
You
week.
can have a fluky month.
The fluky season is tough to do.
I think so.
You're kind of locked in, but yeah, that's so funny.
Padres also made a move yesterday.
Ooh.
Did they announce? I don't know if they announced it, but I saw reported on social media that they have signed first baseman Trenton Brooks to a minor league contract. So welcome to the Padres, Trenton Brooks. Now for an analysis of Trenton Brooks, here is Stephen Woods.
Trenton Brooks is a first baseman by trade.
His name is Trenton.
His name is Trenton, last name Brooks. He was a
He's on
Giant.
minor league contract.
He was a Giant. Made his debut with the Giants last year, right?
Bringing him home. I don't think
He's from here.
He's
I think he did make his debut.
Alpine native, attended Granite Hills High School.
Oh, I bet you're excited.
Hit 302 with 10 home runs for AAA Sacramento last
Never
season
got to call
in the
up?
Giants system. I didn't.
Oh, no, he
see-
did.
He did. Oh,
yeah, batted 120.
all right.
120, 3 hits, 1 RBI, 4 walks, 6 Ks, 25 ABs in the big leagues.
Limited sample size.
He is
410 on base percentage though in the minor leagues last year, which
he is 29 years old.
which indicates he at least has a fairly good grasp of the strike zone. Doesn't strike out a lot, walks a lot.
It's the direction that this team is going. Contact, not striking out a lot, which, hey man, helped him win a bunch of ball games last year. Except for the ones that we wanted to win.
He's certainly not the rock upon which you build your season, but he's also someone you might see in the big leagues at some point next year, depending on injuries, depending on, a number of factors.
He's a camp body right now. You know what
At
I mean?
this point,
So, yeah.
that's all he is. Yeah, he's got an opportunity to show up at spring training and see if he can be one of the 40 pieces that AJ Preller and Mike Schilt
Yep.
will need for next season. But I hadn't heard of him until yesterday. Had you? Yeah. Not someone that's going to get you, buzzing or talking. But there are always guys. As I said yesterday, Tyler Wade was not someone we talked about in the offseason. He was simply one of those minor league contract pickups that the Padres made. And, he contributed. Was he a star? No, but he helped the Padres win some games. There's no doubt about that. Could Trenton Brooks help the Padres win a couple of games next year? Probably not.
Probably
but,
not.
He might. So that's your move from yesterday.
Remember that name.
All right, we'll come back. Second hour of Men and Woods includes our Take on Woods game, a chance to qualify for a getaway to Las Vegas. Just talking about Las Vegas. Also, had Thursday Night Football last night. Big performance in the fourth quarter from Saquon Barkley. Talk a little football and more coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have we all gotten used to watching Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime at this point?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Their strategy has been successful then.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy. Easy as pie.
Normalizing more streamers.
I thought I read recently that they announced they're getting pretty much close to the numbers that they got pre-Amazon Prime on Thursday nights.
The big dog numbers on
Yeah.
Thursday nights. I mean, look,
People figured it out.
It's also a symptom of just nothing else is happening on a Thursday night. And good matchup last night on paper, certainly.
I think it also helps that I don't want to speak for everybody. I think most people have Amazon.
Yeah, 100%.
An Amazon Prime account. If it was like Peacock, I think that would be a little bit more. People are like, what the hell is this? This is another thing, but
You're there.
Most people are paying for Amazon Prime, the 2-day shipping and all that. You're probably already.
Do you guys use your Amazon Prime like movies and shows a lot?
Yeah,
I do too. I've watched a ton of stuff on there. A ton. So yeah, it's really a piece of cake for me. But Paulie, yeah, you're right. I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, having to go find, download Peacock and stuff again, it's just that and pay for it and all that. This one's super easy.
They've got their hooks in us at this point. And, I see the ads, and I haven't tried. I don't know if either of you have those apps that monitor, like, how many subscriptions you have. Like, people don't realize
I've done it in the past.
how many. Oh, yeah, I've got 4 subscriptions. No, you've got 14 subscriptions, and you're paying $29.99 a month for this, and I thought I canceled that. And, like, you don't even realize what you're paying for nowadays, like how many you've got out there. If you're not going through all your bills like with a fine-tooth comb, you may not realize how many subscriptions you have. And they have these new apps that apparently tell you. Are you looking at yours right now? Scrolling?
Yeah,
Looks
you can
like
do it on your,
about
if you have an iPhone, you can go to the settings.
70 subscriptions.
It'll show you.
I'll just get these notifications on my phone.
Bankruptcy by subscription, essentially.
I get the noties on my phone that just say like Apple services $2.99, something $7.99, and I just see it and I go, what is it? Like PayPal $6.99. I have no idea what I'm subscribed to.
Ultimately, could I live without Thursday Night Football if I had to?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, I could live without Thursday Night Football. The games tend to be the worst version of professional football because they're short week. You're asking a team usually to travel, after a game on Sunday to hop on a plane on Wednesday and go play a game on Thursday. It's just not the best version of the sport. And last night was a good matchup, but not the best version of what that matchup could have been, with the Eagles and Commanders playing for first place in the NFC East, a really pivotal game in that division because it's a 2-team race. Eagles came in with a half-game lead, didn't do anything in the first half.
It was stagnant.
It was like 10-3 at the half.
Yeah.
But in the second half, they clicked into gear, specifically fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley, 2 long touchdown runs, sandwiched around an interception for the Eagles of Jaden Daniels, 146 yards in total for Barkley, who now leads the NFL, at least temporarily, ahead of Derrick Henry in rushing yards. And the Eagles pulled out the 26-18 win, and it wasn't even that close.
Not
Commanders
that close.
had a touchdown and a 2-point conversion with like 30 seconds to go. No one really gets the onside kicks anymore, so they hold on 26-18, and now they have not a stranglehold, but they get a 1.5-game lead over Washington at 8-2 in the division with 7 games to play.
Philly fans still upset, I'm sure, by last night's victory.
I think they're starting to get their hopes up
Starting
again.
to come around a little bit.
Maybe Nick Sirianni isn't as bad as we've been saying he is. So they definitely have control of that division. Now, they'll still have to go to Washington the week before Christmas and play that game. So, the Commanders could have hope. But I heard on my way in, was listening to Maggie and Perloff, who's the nationally syndicated show that comes on before us. And Maggie reminded me of something that I remember had been a narrative when he was the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals and he was coach at Texas Tech. Cliff Kingsbury, who's now the offensive coordinator of the Commanders. His teams always collapse in the second half of the season. Always. Every year.
I wonder why that is.
Texas Tech for 3 straight years started out on fire.
Gangbusters.
Collapsed at the end. The Cardinals started out well. The first, 8 to 10 games of the season, they look really good. And then in the end, collapse. His winning percentage is like 280 or something after game 8
nuts
of the season. And
not a closer. He looks like a closer. He's not a closer.
It's happened so often, it seems like it's more than a coincidence. I have no idea. I mean, what could he possibly be doing? Is it just bad luck and injuries are hitting? But the Commanders do seem to be hitting a bit of a wall. Last week losing to the Steelers in a close game, whatever. This week, obviously, it's another good team that they're playing, but now the momentum starts to stall a little bit for the Washington Commanders, who are that good story. Can they staunch the bleeding? Get to the playoffs? I think that would be a successful season. If you're a Commanders fan, you get to the playoffs, you're more than pleased with that effort in this year.
Rookie quarterback, 100%, man. 100%.
But, yes, at least some concerns now for Washington, the last couple of weeks now after a 7-1 start. Now you're like, 7-3, all right. We're or 7-4 now. We've got some work to do.
Yeah, they were talking about on the broadcast last night. I think Herbie was like, "This is the first time Jaden Daniels has really looked like a rookie quarterback." He's pretty fun to watch. He can sling it. He just couldn't. One of those things, he could not connect, could not get down the field at all last night. So again, you have Saquon Barkley. If you're the Giants, you let that guy walk. It's crazy how guys get to a new team, find fresh legs, find a new life, and what a stud he's been for Philly this year.
All right, need a contestant for Take on Woods if you want to play our musical trivia game against Woodsy with a chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Call us now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll play our game here in just a couple of minutes. I also watched some basketball last night. So I watched the MLB Awards, I watched Thursday Night Football, and I turned on the San Diego Clippers game of the G League. They were playing the Valley Suns, and I don't know how much I'm going to get into it. Obviously, you've been talking about Front Wave Arena. Wasn't a big crowd last night, but it certainly looks like a cool venue. I can't wait to get up there and check it out.
I had good reports from some friends of mine that I sent. They said it was a lot of fun.
And the product is not bad. G League basketball, just from my eye, is a pretty good form of basketball. But what I hadn't realized is that they've altered some of the rules. They do some of experimentation, like baseball does in the minor leagues with the automated ball and strike system and the testing of the challenges. They test out new things. For instance, for most of the game, you don't shoot 2 free throws when you get fouled. You shoot 1, and if you make it, you get 2 points, and you miss it, you get 0 points. It speeds things up a little bit.
Does.
You're not standing there waiting the foul line. Just go. You just shoot 1, and it's worth 2 points. So you make
It's
it.
not even
a
a 1-on-1.
It's not a 1-on-1. It's 1 free throw
1 for 2. That's sick.
And it does speed things up a little bit. Now, will that ever come to the NBA? Obviously, it changes the nature of the game a little bit, but it does keep things moving.
Does that change the stats for
Absolutely.
the rest
of your life? Yeah,
it would if you put it in the NBA. It would change things. Now, at the end, in the last 2 minutes or something, they go back to having to shoot both free throws, and that actually came into play last night when the Clippers had a lead, but couldn't make their free throws down the stretch, and Valley tied it, and it went to overtime. So it's going to overtime, and all of a sudden, Steve Quist, who's doing the game, says, you may not be aware of this, but in the G League, we play target score overtime, a.k.a. the Elam ending. So instead of putting 5 minutes on the clock, they put a target score up. And it was 124, and they said first one to 131 wins. So 7 points, the race to 7 points in overtime. And I was intrigued. I was excited by this.
When I woke up this morning and saw Ben's tweet about an Elam ending, and I went, man, that guy loves him. A scoregami and an Elam ending.
We've talked about it. The Elam ending, the good thing about that is you don't have the situation where you're down 6 with a minute to go. You have to keep fouling the other team, sending them to the line.
It's better.
So it's better. But what I didn't realize was there's a whole new element of strategy when it comes to the game. So Valley had gotten the first 2 baskets, so they're at 128. So they're within a 3 of winning the game. So all of a sudden now the Clippers, you can't let up a 3. In fact, they fouled to make sure the guy would only go and get 2 shots at the line. So you can't win the game on us. And then the Clippers came back. They got to 128. So the Suns did the same thing. We're fouling to make sure you can't even get off a 3-point shot to beat us, because then we get the ball back and we'll have a chance to go down and win the game on our side.
And you have to hit it on the nose.
Yeah, no, you don't have to hit it on the nose, but you have to at least get there. And if you're at 128 and you need 131 and they foul you for 2 shots,
the best you
can do is 130, and then the other team's going to get the ball back with a chance to win. They did. Clippers actually missed both free throws again.
Oh my gosh.
And the Suns hit their basket and they won the game. It's a walk-off. You're going to get a walk-off basket no matter what in an Elam ending. And they did. And, it was intriguing to be sure, but there were still a lot of timeouts and fouls, which surprised me at the end of the game. But, kind of fascinating, a little different form of basketball, and you can now check it out in person up in Oceanside at Front Wave Arena.
Yep, 100%.
All right, it looks like we got a caller in. Let's get to it. It is time to play. Take on Woods. Feels like this week's have been a bit of a struggle on Take on Woods, even for Woodsy as well. Maybe some tough categories, but we got a good contestant, Roger, on the line. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Roger, good morning to you. How have you been?
Good morning, fellas. I'm great. Thank you.
All right, let's see if we can qualify you. You beat or tie Woods. We will put you into the grand prize drawing for the 2-night stay at the Westgate, Las Vegas, and 2 tickets to Soul of Motown and a $150 food and beverage credit. Check out the Westgate $70 million in room renovations and the Motown show. You can get your tickets at westgateresorts.com. All right, if you have, maybe you're listening to our replay this afternoon and are not familiar with the Take on Woods rules, you have 5 questions, 60 seconds. It's musical trivia. First questions are 2-second song where you try to identify both a song title and an artist from a short bit of music. Contestant goes first, then Woods goes, same questions, and we just compare the scores. Now, to give our contestant the advantage, we let Roger choose the category. Here are your choices, Roger. Get into the rhythm. 5 song titles and artists that include the word rhythm. A cromulent category. Those are 5 hit songs with made-up words in the title. And our new category is On the Compass, song titles and artists featuring one of the 4 directions on a compass. So get into the rhythm, a cromulent category, or On the Compass. Roger, what would you like to play?
The second one sounds interesting.
A cromulent
category.
That's a Simpsons reference of a word that was made up on that show. But today we have 5 hit songs with made-up words in the title. I gave you the rules, so all you need to do is the best you can. You can pass if you don't know one. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. Roger, are you ready to play?
I am. Let Woodsy have the category.
I will also give Woodsy the category. Roger likes to up the degree of difficulty because he is one of our best players. Paul, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Roger. Let's take on Woods. Bring it.
Getting jiggy with it, Will Smith.
Correct. Shaggy says they call him Mr. This in a 1995 Jamaican fusion hit.
Boombastic.
Correct. Phil Collins went all the way to number 1 thanks to what alliterative but totally fabricated song title from 1985?
Studio.
Correct. Which 1999 song and album from the Red Hot Chili Peppers also became the title for a Showtime television series starring David Duchovny?
Californication.
Correct. Destiny's Child prominently sampled the Stevie Nicks song The Edge of 17 for which number 1 hit from 2001?
Bootylicious.
Oh,
Wow.
A sensational 5 out of 5. Well, Woods can't beat that. So, Roger, you are into the drawing for Las Vegas. You just heard all the answers. You don't need me to give them again. So let's see if Woods can match that. All right. It's Roger, which you know what that means. You get the category.
Oh, I do. Yes, that's right. Roger's
But
a
I'll
fair
also just let you know, he already went 5 for 5.
Oh,
so
great.
you have
All right.
no
So,
room for error
Very
here.
cool. Tie is the best we can do.
All right. The category is called a cromulent category. Do you know what that means?
No. Too tired for this. What? What is it?
Song titles with made-up words in the title.
All right.
Like cromulent. All right, 60 seconds on the
Wait,
clock.
Like what?
Cromulent is a made-up word. So are all the song titles include a made-up word.
Okay.
60 seconds on the clock.
It's a Simpsons reference.
Yeah, I
so
know. I knew you
that's-
wouldn't get it. That's fine. Some people got it out there. 60 seconds on the clock. Time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Roger. Bring it.
Getting jiggy with it, Will Smith.
Correct. Shaggy says they call him Mr. This.
Boombastic.
Correct. Phil Collins went all the way to number 1 thanks to what alliterative but totally fabricated.
Sussudio.
Correct. Which 1999 song and album from the Red Hot Chili Peppers also became the title for a Showtime series starring David Duchovny?
Californication.
Correct. Destiny's Child prominently sampled the Stevie Nicks song The Edge of 17 for which number 1 hit in 2001? Roger got it. Got plenty of time here. We can just
30 seconds.
enjoy ourselves for a little bit. You know, Destiny's Child.
Made up word.
Roger, you still there?
I am.
He's still there. You know, he's waiting on you for an answer here. Time is running out, Woods.
Destiny's Taint. I have no idea. None whatsoever.
Bootylicious! And Roger, congratulations.
Save that.
Oh, yeah.
You are in the drawing for our trip to Las Vegas. Well played again by Roger.
You beat me when I was sick and weak.
I thought you'd get the first four. I wasn't sure about the last one.
Bootylicious.
Save
Never heard
that,
of it.
too.
I never heard of it.
Someone had to come up with that name.
I knew Susudio was going to be
On there,
so I
made
was
up.
waiting.
Made up. Where you're waiting for that one.
Uh-huh.
Boombastic. You
There
sound a little
anymore?
like Shaggy today.
I'm feeling a little like Shaggy today. Is he still alive?
That's a good question.
I have no idea. Is he
I hope
still
so.
alive, Paulie?
I hope
I
so.
believe so.
Damn it. Well done.
Well done, Roger. Congratulations. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. I know we're going to talk about the Mike Tyson fight, and I think we're going to save some audio
We have
from
to.
that.
We have to save the audio.
It's
I need
all
an
coming
hour
up,
on it.
so stay tuned for all of it. Coming up after a quick check of traffic, Ben Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Don't do this, a daily segment here on Men and Woods. Again, I'm explaining everything for our replay audience in the afternoon. Couple of stories from the world of sports that make you shake your head. Something good as well. We call it Do This. I will get us started. This is just a random podcast story that made me laugh. So Carmelo Anthony hosts a 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast, and his co-host, the kid Miro.
Love Miro.
You love Miro?
He's hilarious.
Who is he?
I don't know him.
He used to have a show on Showtime, like a pop culture, hip hop, sports, politics, like a late night show.
He's like an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's not an athlete or anything.
No.
A
but
rapper.
He's like Brooklyn to the core, huge Carmelo fan and buddy, and now they have a podcast.
Nice.
So Miro and Mello. So Miro asks Mello for someone famous who's expressed fandom about, his play. And Carmelo's answer was a surprising one. He said, in 2011, I was in a locker room, and legendary musician Stevie Wonder was there. And he said, Stevie Wonder said, I love watching you play, Carmelo. And Miro laughed, and Mello said, no, he totally told me. He loves watching me play basketball. He's a big fan of watching me play basketball.
I've heard that rumor for years. I mean, that's a thing. It's a rumor that he actually can see. How would he watch?
That's
I know.
the mystery here.
I understand.
And that's the don't do this part of this story. Stevie Wonder, of course, is blind.
He's blind. Allegedly.
Can't watch anybody play basketball.
Allegedly. Dr. Dre told a really funny story about working with Stevie Wonder, and he's like, bro, clocks don't really exist to Stevie Wonder. Like, it doesn't really matter what time of night, really, night and day. So he would be calling me at like 4 o'clock in the morning, like, all right, well, let's get to work. He's like, dude, I'm dead asleep. Like, I know this is different for you, but it's not.
Did Carmelo lie?
I don't know.
No, I don't think he did.
It's possible it's Stevie Wonder.
Does he just troll people?
Appreciates like basketball and hearing about someone's exploits.
Sure.
And can just say, I love watching you play. Like, that's just an expression that maybe he uses.
Yeah.
So it's possible Carmelo is telling the truth, but it just sounds really
That's a good one.
Awkward.
If you want to bet on the big fight tonight, it's Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. I mean, it's crazy how much time that we're all devoting to this. We have to play that interview for you next that Mike Tyson did with a 12-year-old girl. Now, listen, these guys are making some serious coin for this fight, certainly. But where we, the betting public, could make some money is with some of these prop bets. Now, obviously, we remember Tyson Holyfield, Benjamin. If you wanted to bet on Jake Paul getting bit tonight, just bit, plus 550.
That's it.
That's it.
That's a pretty, short odds.
Right. But
for something that's happened like once in boxing.
That's right. That's right.
Ever.
And it's minus 1,000 that Mike will keep his teeth to himself tonight. You could actually bet on if he does get bit, where would he get bit? Bit on the nose is plus 150. Bit on the ear is plus 200. Bit on the cheek is plus 400. Bit on the shoulder is plus 500. Bit on the ass, plus 2,000. And
how would you even do that in the middle of the fight?
Throw him down, pull his pants down, and bite his butt.
If anybody in a boxing match was ever going to do it, I could see like Jake Paul
doing it to Mike Tyson.
We'll talk about this fight.
But hang on, though. I'm not finished.
All right.
If Mike Tyson bites his penis, plus 50,000, worth $10. I'll say it right now, worth $10. If I can find that prop somewhere, if he bites his penis, it's plus 50,000. That would be a sight to see on Netflix tonight.
I feel like that might jeopardize Mike Tyson's payday, and he's not going to do anything to jeopardize his payday.
Yeah. But that is those very interesting prop bets. I do realize people in the chat telling me I sound like Boomer Esiason. I do realize that I sound like Boomer Esiason. Happy birthday to the late Randy Savage, the Macho Man. I'm Boomer Esiason. I realize.
It's a bit of a rough listen today.
I'm so sorry. I wish I felt better.
But at least you know that you'll probably wake up tomorrow sounding again like you. Boomer has to wake up every day sounding
How
like
does
Boomer.
he do a show like this every single day?
I'm assuming it's not the strain that it is for you today. It's just his normal voice.
No, it
That's
sucks
what
for me
like.
today.
Yeah.
That's just what he sounds like. How do his co-hosts do it?
I'm okay.
Is it
I don't
hard for
mind
you
listening
guys?
to you. No, not at all.
Nah, you just want me here. I get it.
Not going to drive you off, that's for sure. All right, a little do this to wrap things up.
DD mega doo-doo.
So this is a cool story. Early college basketball season, you get some of these mismatches, including Wednesday night when Tennessee took on Montana. Montana, though, has a pretty good player. He's a guard named Money Williams, who scored 30 points against Tennessee. Now, they still got absolutely destroyed, 92-57. But Tennessee fans heard about the story of Money Williams, who lost both of his parents in the past year, and he and his sister Monet are raising their 3 younger siblings all by themselves. So when Tennessee fans heard about that, there's like a GoFundMe type page to help support the family. The fans of the Volunteers donated $10,000 to help Money and Monet with their, raising their siblings
amazing,
because
man.
they lost both of their parents in the last year.
That is incredible. What a heartwarming do this.
That's
story.
pretty. I love when a fan base will come together and support an opponent.
Me too.
It's we saw it with when the Bills and DeMar Hamlin, and that happened, and it's happened a few times. But that's a cool outpouring of support from Tennessee fans.
Very
nice
cool.
thing. To
Yeah,
do.
I almost donated to the GoFundMe for the Dodger fan that blew his fingers off. I really did. I was going to give him like $20. I mean, he blew his fingers off. They're gone. They're
Right.
never to come back.
And is there a GoFundMe for him?
Yeah, there was.
There is.
Somebody tweeted yesterday, I actually feel bad for that guy, but I just know that when he heals, he's going to tweet me, rings, bitch. You know what I mean? Like you just know it comes with the territory. Even if he's fingerless, he still will run his mouth because that's what they do best.
Now, it's not like he wasn't totally responsible for his own blowing off of his fingers.
Who would you say was responsible?
He was.
Yeah, he was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He made that. I mean, he didn't choose to blow off his fingers.
No, but he chose to light that stick of dynamite with a quarter-inch wick.
His hands. Some might say those would be the consequences of your own actions.
Agreed.
I'm not cheering for it to happen,
No,
obviously, but
I actually felt bad for him, but I was going to throw like $20.
But I
at
feel
him.
like there's maybe more worthy GoFundMe recipients.
I do agree.
than that.
I agree with
And
that
that's
as
why
well,
you
which is why I didn't end
Fair
up
enough.
doing it.
And that's don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, there are a number of other stories involving tonight's fight, including one of the most unintentionally hilarious interviews of all time that Mike Tyson gave. And we will play that for you when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I've been waiting all morning. Actually, I've been waiting since I saw this yesterday. Like, I've been waiting 18 hours for this, to play this on the air. Because I could not believe what I saw.
Well, that's the thing. And I'm usually the resident skeptic here. I'll look and go, all right, what's the real story here?
It's amazing.
And this happened to me a bunch yesterday because, everyone's intrigued by the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. But is it going to be a real fight? Kimberly Hunt was asking me last night at Channel 10, are they just going to script it? Like, do they already know who's going to win? And I said, well, technically it's a sanctioned boxing match. So there should be it's not WWE. It's not theater. They should be going in and competing in the ring, and the best boxer wins. But there's a part of me that doesn't believe that this is real, that they have already orchestrated everything. And, take yesterday's weigh-in. Did you see the weigh-in?
Of course.
So
you couldn't miss it.
The two guys weigh in, strip down to their skivvies. Mike Tyson checks in at 233, a very solid-looking 233 for a 58-year-old man.
Like a barrel. Like a big barrel. Just thick.
Jake Paul being 27, a little more svelte at 220, but also looks like he's in very good shape. They have trained for this fight. There's no doubt about that. You can't fake those bodies. And then they do the made-for-TV moment that they do with every boxing match where you got all the handlers and the promoters and on the stage, and you have the two guys staring at each other at very close proximity, which is, of course, designed to try to get something to happen. And I don't know if Jake Paul said something, whatever, but Mike Tyson took a right-handed swing, kind of to the side of the head at Jake Paul. Did he know it was coming? Was it scripted? Was it orchestrated to just give him a dramatic moment that everyone is going to play on television later? My thinking is probably yes. Like, go up there and do something crazy, guys. I don't care what it is, but do something that's going to get people talking.
Not uncommon at all for any boxing match anymore. It's almost expected, and when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, that was a pretty weak weigh-in.
Jelly says he saw the video this morning that Jake stepped on Mike's foot right before he got slapped. I didn't see that, if that was part of it. But then, that could have been, all right, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, and people are going to go crazy, and we're going to drive up even more viewership for our fight tomorrow. I will say, Jake Paul is Jake Paul. He's famous for being famous, essentially.
Yeah.
Did not flinch when Mike Tyson Mike Tyson went to the side of his head. And
not because he knew it was coming.
Yes.
Part of me thought either he knew it was coming or that is pretty bad. Bad man to not even flinch when Mike Tyson goes at you.
I was thinking about it, and I Googled it. I remember when the celebrity boxing thing started to happen. Would it surprise you to know, really, Ben, that the first two celebrity boxing matches involved the greatest to ever do it, Muhammad Ali. Do you remember that Muhammad Ali fought Lyle Alzado?
Did he? No.
Yes, and I don't think there's no winner listed for either. And then he fought Dave Semenko, who was a hockey player, and no winners listed for that. But I remember in the 90s when this was all the rage, Danny Bonaducci against Donny Osmond.
Didn't Gary Coleman get into the ring once even?
Oh yeah, I think so. You had Danny Bonaducci. Oh no, Todd Bridges from Different Strokes.
Maybe that's who I was thinking of from Different Strokes.
Against Vanilla Ice. And Todd Bridges won that. You had Paula Jones against Tanya Harding. You had Manute Bol against William the Refrigerator Perry, which Manute Bol won. Joey Buttafuoco. Remember Joey Buttafuoco? Right. This was a thing. This was a thing in the 90s, and we did it, and we laughed, and now it's on Netflix for $60 million in purses. I mean, what did Danny Bonaducci make for his fights? $250? Maybe? $500 max? This is insane how this thing is growing.
I mean, is this a moneymaker for Netflix? That's what I want to know. It's not a pay-per-view. If you have a Netflix subscription, it's included.
You're in.
So you're already in. Is anyone actually signing up for Netflix that wouldn't have otherwise just for this fight?
So Probably, but
a few, but enough to pay for $60 million.
Well, you get
for
promoters
the two
and sponsors and things like that. But look, trust me, I don't know how they make money on this. I mean, I just don't know like how I.
Now they're also expected to be 60,000 fans at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
So that's a revenue right there. I don't know what they're charging for the tickets, but there's definitely money to be made, and it's embarrassing. It's not embarrassing for. Here's the thing. It's not embarrassing for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
No.
It's embarrassing for all of us.
It is.
I am almost humiliated as a member of society that this is not just a thing, but a thing that is going to be successful tonight, that I'm probably going to watch. People I know are going to watch this.
I will, too. I kind of want to be in the loop on this.
And I'm pretty sure.
I wonder how many tickets were sold.
I mean, they say 60,000.
Sold out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm not
if
sold
they're
out,
distributing tickets, if they're charging through the nose for tickets, I have no idea. But it's going to be a lot of people there. And I'm pretty sure that if I do turn it on, I'm going to be cheering for Mike Tyson.
Right.
And that's problematic too.
Yeah.
It's problematic that Mike Tyson is in some ways the hero of this story. We know the story of Mike Tyson.
I broke my back.
It's not a good story, people. It's not. This is not a heroic figure in American sports.
It is weird how some people can get through the muck and come out on the other side, and some people just never do. And you go from convicted felon who went to prison to now you're in the hangover and everybody thinks you're hysterical. It's very, very interesting how that happens.
Now, for the most part,
just looked StubHub. You can get in the door tonight for $67.
Okay, not bad.
Like
way up.
30-yard line-ish, all the way up.
Ooh, Janine, good point.
And then $2,400 to sit close to the ring.
Just as it feels like Gladiator. Yeah, you're watching two, not great human beings duel it out, except they're not fighting to the death. But I don't know, man. It's certainly captivated a lot of people. And,
but if you're like an actual boxing fan, this isn't going to be a good, technically solid fight. Neither of these guys are, well, Tyson was, but he's decades past his prime. And Jake Paul is a sideshow. He knows how to box, but he's never going to be, heavyweight champion of the world. This is not a professional level fight.
We talked about it a couple of days ago, and I think it was maybe Tuesday. We mentioned this, and we were all surprised when I looked up the betting odds that Jake Paul was the heavy favorite.
Heavy favorite.
And Mike Tyson was like plus 225 odds. And since then, I checked yesterday, the betting experts, everybody that's putting money on it, they've all come to back Tyson now. He's moved up. He's still not the favorite, but he's gone from plus 225 to plus like 170.
Yeah, SD Jelly says Tyson had the redemption tour with his one-man show. Yeah, of course. I remember that. I mean, Ben said it. I absolutely will be rooting for Mike Tyson tonight. And I won't think twice about it.
I'm looking it up. I'm going, has Mike Tyson really redeemed himself? He has launched a foundation to help children from broken homes, the Mike Tyson Cares Foundation. He has We Too Matter, a charity Tyson and his family created to help formerly incarcerated women. Maybe he has done, some stuff and worked on rehabbing his, second chances are great. We all love second chances.
No doubt. Well, I want to get to this.
All right.
This is what I've been waiting for.
We will check traffic when we come back. The interview that, the fact that it even happened to begin with is problematic, but it'll go down as one of the most legendarily awkward interviews of all time.
Yeah.
After traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Just a couple things to mention here, guys. Crash has cleared from the Plaza Boulevard off-ramp, northbound 5. Getting reports of a collision on westbound 52 near Mast Boulevard, but not showing if lanes are blocked. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a trash can bouncing around in lanes on northbound 15 just before Miramar Road. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so whoever thought that this was a good idea, I mean, could have been a don't do this segment to be sure. But as part of the promotion for the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight, they had, like Kid Journalist Day and an opportunity for like a 12-year-old? 13-year-old girl.
You see that at media days
Yeah,
now.
sure.
You see it at the Super Bowl,
It's good bit.
World Series. It's fun, yeah.
And she had an opportunity. I don't know if she got a chance to interview Jake Paul, but she had a chance to interview Mike Tyson. I don't know what to say, how to introduce this.
Well,
Woods, do you?
she asked him what I thought was a really good and insightful question. And the joke that was being made all day was Mike Tyson gives an interesting answer, but has clearly forgotten that he's talking to a kid, a 13-year-old
Well, in your
girl.
return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I've not heard before, someone say that as an answer.
Can you really imagine somebody say, I want my legacy to be this way when you're dead? Why do you want somebody you think somebody really wants to think about you? How true. What's the audacity? I think, I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the cares about me when I'm gone? Well, my kids, maybe, or grandkids.
True.
All your loved ones. She was fantastic.
Oh, my God.
By the way, she was fantastic. Better interviewer than me. Maybe even better than Ben. She knocked it out of the park.
I mean, for awkward interviews, she's clearly better than me. I mean, she handled that with aplomb.
Aplomb. You would have started getting nervous and talking over him.
She was just doing the kind of the nod along, like, okay, interesting
I hadn't
answer.
thought of that before. Yeah,
All
wow.
right.
It's a really, really interesting answer. I loved it so much. And he's looking at her like nihilist Mike Tyson. It's just like, I mean, think about your kids coming to you, Dad, what do you want to do for dinner? Why does dinner matter? Why would you even want to nourish yourself? Because, I mean, you're going to die. I'm going to die. We're going to be dust. Who needs food when you're all going to die? Bro, everybody can get in that headspace. It's not a fun headspace. Like when
eventually the sun is going to burn out.
Yes.
And,
it's all over.
We're all going to be gone. So
it is.
What does anything matter?
You know what I should have done last night between the tears? I should have been doing this with Bo last night and him crying, oh, Mama's gone. She's in New York and I'm just so sad. Well, what does it matter? You're going to be dead. I'm going to be dead. Mama's going to die. Everybody's going to die.
It's just a speck of dust in this universe.
It's just a speck of time. You're actually going to waste your tears on your mother who will die and your father who will also die. Your brother will all be dead. It's gnarly. Like, she's looking at him like,
nothing you do will ever
never
matter in the long haul of the universe.
It was absolutely incredible. I would like to hear it again, Paulie.
Well, in your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Great question.
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead.
You're dead.
We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have not heard before. Someone say that as an answer.
Can you really imagine somebody say, I want my legacy to be this way when you're dead?
You're
dead. You think somebody really wants to think about you?
True.
What's the audacity? I think, I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the cares about me when I'm gone? Well, my kids, maybe, or grandkids.
The chat has pointed out she's a very good listener, Ben. You could probably learn
really,
a thing or two from her.
really elite listener. In her mind is saying, "Get me out of here."
That's what I've got to think.
Get me out of here. But she knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was so legendary. Nihilist Mike Tyson. Yeah, somebody says feels like some ayahuasca might have taken place. The whole killing of the ego thing. But listen, if you had no ego, you wouldn't fight. If you had no ego at all, you would turn down this fight, right? You're fighting for ego and money. But what is money?
Mostly money.
Yeah, but what is money good for?
A lot of things.
Yeah,
keep you from dying.
Well, you see, but you don't care that you're going to die.
Apparently
We're all
not.
going to die. So, I mean, the circular logic can go round and round and round. And that's what ayahuasca allegedly does. It kills the ego. But I don't know that I buy it because Aaron Rodgers is a huge fan, and he still has a massive ego. Mike Tyson, massive ego. Very interesting answer. Very interesting answer.
I just think maybe we'd all be better off if we follow Mike Tyson's lead.
Well, people...
Will the Padres sign Roki Sasaki?
Doesn't matter.
What does it matter? We're all going to die. He's going to die.
Yeah, we're going to die.
Everybody's going to die.
Yeah. I mean, you can live your life that way. It has got to be difficult. But holy cow.
Aztecs Gonzaga, who's going to win on Monday night?
Doesn't matter.
What does it matter? Everyone's going to die. It's all going to be over.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, Andy says it. If you're talking about not wanting an ego, then you have a massive ego, I think. That's kind of where it is. But man, that was really, really something. And somebody, a lot of people said, bro, you know what that means? That means Mike Tyson's just locked in. He's locked in for this fight. Because he easily could have been like, oh, what a great question. You're such a sweetheart. I'm so glad you're here. Played along with, a kid. And he decided, no, I'm just going to do it this way.
They got us, I think, though, for the fight tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's 5 p.m. our time or 7 p.m. our time?
I believe 7.
7.
I think the broadcast starts at 5, but there's undercards, and it should start around 7 our time.
All right, good.
All right, we've got 2 hours to go. Coming up next, what does it matter? We're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
So, I mean, who cares what we have in the next 2 hours of the program? We're all dust anyway.
Coming up next.
Whatever.
Who cares?
Who cares?
With Ben and
With
Woods.
Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We are halfway home on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. I apologize for my voice. I don't usually sound like this, but the old throat's kind of closing up on me. Feels a little bit like raw hamburger meat. So that's a good visual for you at 8 or in the afternoon at, 4?
Is it possible that whatever has afflicted your underarms has migrated to your throat? You have an alarming number of body parts that you describe as raw hamburger meat at this point.
I guess it's possible.
This is 49.
If you missed it earlier this week,
that was last week.
Late last week, yes, Woodsy was soliciting deodorant suggestions that wouldn't irritate his sensitive underarms that he feels is turned into, chopped hamburger.
Yeah, they're very irritated.
Right.
And now my throat
Now it's your throat.
feels that way.
Maybe you are having an allergic reaction.
I don't believe in
but
allergies.
you don't believe in allergies.
Right.
So.
Anyway, I don't usually sound like this, but I'm trying to get through it. I want to be here for my team. That's how we do it. I can't very well piss and moan at Adam about what how dedicated we are, and then be like, hey, I don't feel good. I'm not coming to work today. I actually feel fine. It's just my voice, so I apologize. That's Paul Ryle. He's the executive producer. Ben Higgins is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, and he joins us as well. Sport boy yesterday for you. Like you went to a USD. So we did a radio show, and we talked some sports yesterday. We absolutely talked some baseball. We talked some football.
You hosted a 4-hour show on a sports station.
Correct. Then let's start from the beginning. Driving into work yesterday, 5 a.m., he's listening to Maggie and Perloff. All right, that's 5 a.m. He comes here. He does a 4-hour sports show. Now, we mixed in some other stuff. We had some personal stories. We had an argument with our boss. Ben had a revelation about what a terrible listener he is and how to get better. So we did that. You leave here.
No, first then I had about a 40-minute conversation with Tier 1 Devin.
That's right.
Who is a San Diego State student who had a project and needed to interview a local member of the sports media trying to get into the business.
So you're talking sports with them.
Talked sports with Devin and talked radio and basically how to get into this business, which I don't know the answer to.
Correct.
I always feel bad because I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just in the business. I don't know how to get into the business. I just know how to stay in the business.
So Maggie and Perloff at 5, Ben and Woods at 6 to 10.
Yep.
Devin at SDSU after that.
Yep.
Then to a USD press conference. Then to Channel 10.
It was a media luncheon. It was just an informal
media luncheon
gathering.
But talking sports.
Right.
Then to Channel 10.
Correct.
Where you are the sports director.
Yes.
Then you watched G League basketball. You watched the NBA.
Thursday Night Football.
You watched
the
Thursday
MLB
Night Football
Award
and
ceremony.
the MLB award ceremony.
Correct.
Good Lord.
And then I got home and went to sleep.
And then got up and then
do it all again
this
today.
Maggie and Perloff at 5. I mean, you are.
I have some long days. There's no doubt about that.
You are something.
But it was a good day yesterday.
You are something else. You're something else. I like sports so much. I love to play sports. I like sports. I can't even imagine watching that much sports in one day.
Like last night, I had Thursday Night Football on.
I did too.
It became a blowout at the end there. I know the final score we talked about it. It was a little bit closer.
Right.
But Eagles dominated the Commanders.
Right.
Halfway through the fourth quarter, I go, I'm done.
Turned it off.
And you know what I didn't do? I didn't search out a college basketball game.
Right.
You didn't flip on the G League
NBA,
like I
the
did.
G League. It's like time to watch a movie or a television show and wind down a little bit.
So Satan's
you can break away from sports. It's okay.
Yeah. Get you. I watched a documentary yesterday. I watched a documentary about Elvis Presley's 68 comeback special. It's on Netflix. Fantastic. 2-hour documentary. Brilliant. And I feel better for it. Satan's Blowfish said, so what did you tell him, Devin, when he called? And then Chris said, you definitely don't have to be an active listener, Devin. What did you tell
Didn't
Devin?
even hear half of Devin's questions.
Yeah.
Actually.
Just waiting to bloviate.
We had a fun conversation. I kind of asked him, his story. He's transferred from Grossmont. He's a junior now at San Diego State. It's a communications class.
Okay.
And just kind of so what I never understand is, because, I didn't study this in college. I was a poli-sci major.
I was an English major.
You were an English major. So
Polly, what was your major?
Communications.
So a little
right?
bit,
Polly's
yeah.
got some.
So what did they teach you in communications? Because that's what I was asking Devin. Like, what do you learn nowadays? Because it feels like even if I had studied communications, everything changes. Like
I don't
when
remember
I
anything
started
from, like, Com 101. I did take like some journalism classes though, and I learned a lot of good stuff there.
When I started, we used reel to reel in radio, like big long reels of tape.
I wouldn't have done it. I would not have done it.
Like anything you learned back then is completely irrelevant
obsolete.
now. And what we use now is probably going to be obsolete in like 10 years. So
Well,
you just have to continually learn and reevaluate and you just have to keep up with stuff. And it's hard, like now if you ask me to sit where Paulie is sitting and touch, run all the buttons, I used to be able to do that. I couldn't do it now. And I have not kept up with that. And I sometimes feel bad about that. So I told Devin, like, the more you know, the more you understand and able to run things behind the scenes, make yourself invaluable. Get your foot in the door, make yourself invaluable, and then pursue what you want to do in this business once you're here.
Learn everything about that. I mean, I did it too. I did run my own board but I was just a jock. I just talked for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute tops at a time. But having to edit audio and doing all that stuff, it's why I'm so glad that we have Paulie, because I didn't want to do it. I hated that part of the job. I hated it with a passion. I just wanted to come on and try to entertain.
But I always felt like I was a fraud. When I first started, like in television, I didn't know how to edit video or anything like that. I literally had to teach myself. I never had a class in any shape or form. And I'm not even sure I still know exactly how to do it, but I've kind of muddled around and figured it. I found my way to do it, to figure it out. I have no idea if it's the right way or the way they teach how to do it. It's just the way I know how to do it at this point. So kind of a self-taught broadcaster. And I'm always fascinated by people who are more school-taught broadcasters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think about some of my favorite jocks that are in this town or that I grew up listening to, and honestly, I do feel like a lot of it was just trial by fire. They're like, all right, you want the afternoons on the weekend, go ahead and try it. And somebody hears something they like, and you can build on it. They threw me in. Day one, I'd never been a DJ in my life. I'd never been on the radio in my life, but I had 4 other people around me. But when it was time to be a jock, no producer, no nothing, you're on Monday. Here's the songs that you're going to play. Go play them, say something interesting. And then it was just like, you want to talk about standing on the edge of a cliff and being like, whew, all right. Like, it was terrifying.
At the same time, I think all of us want to feel like whatever we have chosen to do as our profession is not something that you can just step in and do. You have to be proficient. You have to be technical. You have to have an understanding of it. But in some ways you don't in radio. They just threw you in.
Threw me in.
And obviously you weren't as, you didn't know everything. And you've gotten better, but
I would say that getting your foot in the door is obviously an absolute, it's on the Mount Rushmore of how to get into this business, for sure. It's right there at the top.
Yeah, take any gig.
It's also reps. And I think getting reps, practicing, honing that craft, it's so much easier today because if you have an iPhone, if you have a microphone that you can get for $30, like you can have a podcast, you can start a show online, you can start a way, like you have to learn how to talk to a microphone and to an audience. And that was probably a lot harder to do, is my guess, 30 years ago than it is today. Like
certainly,
anybody can start a YouTube channel,
no
start
podcast,
a podcast,
no YouTube. But if you wanted to actually, and yeah, you can sit in a room and the tape recorder and tape yourself. You can't replicate though the feeling of an audience and knowing you're on that like high wire and don't fall off.
Our buddies, Jake and Jordan, Cespedes Barbecue Podcast.
Yep.
They're one of the most successful baseball podcasts out there. I don't think they went to journalism school.
No,
I don't think they interned at any radio station.
They had a passion for it.
But they could turn that podcast, they could sign on with a radio station somewhere and be a baseball show.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no
because
question.
they got the reps. They practiced, they built something, and they have value.
It's funny as hell that we're talking about this because I did run into, I told you earlier, ran into Tim Flannery yesterday. And we were talking about when he was on local news for like 3 years. And we were talking about his experience. And he goes, because we were talking about you and Benny. And I said, I don't know how he does it. The 2 full-time jobs. He just shook his head. He goes, I did that TV stuff. And this is back in the day. I had to come in and type out my scripts and stuff. And go up there and read it. He goes, for me, it wasn't. I go, bro, I get it. You're a musician. No musician wants to rehearse. Musician wants to play. And that's how I feel. I don't practice a lot. I don't write a lot of stuff down because I need to feel in the morning when I turn the mic on, oh God, They're listening. Don't mess it up. A podcast for me doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore because when I'm doing a podcast, I don't feel alive because I know at the end of it, I go, ooh, I said something dumb or I misspoke about that. Let's edit that out, clean it up. Hate that part. I like the feeling of walking in here every morning, turning on that blue light and going, here we go. Like it's truly without it. I need that feeling of like walking out on stage.
You need that feeling.
I need it.
I try to overcome that feeling.
Correct.
I don't want to think about the audience. I don't want to think about the stress of anything you say that everybody's listening to it. I
love it.
I like the idea of we're just three guys in a room and no one's really listening. Oh, someone's
I'm more with
listening.
Ben on
Surprise.
that. Like if you told me 1,000 people were listening right now on the app, car, whatever, okay. If you told me 1 million people were listening on the app, in the radio, whatever, okay. But if we're on a remote and there's 20 people and 20,000 people,
it's different.
Totally different.
Me and Paulie at AleSmith, I wanted to die.
If we had
I wanted to die. There were so many people there.
If I had to face my audience every single morning, like it wasn't on the radio, like I sat down and everyone who's listening right now is right out there.
At a lecture hall.
I'm on a stage and you're all out there like at a festival. I don't think I could do this. I really don't. I'm not a good public speaker, I don't think.
I would be way worse at that than I am at this.
I agree.
Yeah, it was good. I need to get in touch with him. I bailed on you yesterday because I'm not feeling great, man. So I'll get in touch with Devin. And does he need me? Does he want to do?
I told him that you were definitely willing. I mean, it's a project. I gave him probably enough information that he can get through it. He was a big fan though. He loves Don't Do This. Wanted to know how I put together Take on Woods, kind of the mechanics of the show.
Josh in the chat says you should have just told Devin, it doesn't matter. We're all going to die.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Too. Don't even bother trying because we're all going to die. The old Mike Tyson. I'm going to start using that answer to my wife all the time. Can you take out the trash? The trash doesn't matter. Let it pile up because we're all going to die. No, I'm not washing the dishes. Why would I do that? I'm going to be dead soon.
Adam says that's why you aren't teachers. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've gone and spoken to classes. It's much harder than this. Speaking to a room full of sixth graders, terrifying.
Oh yeah,
terrifying.
You didn't even ask me how my performance to Taylor's class of 3 and 4 year olds was the other day about what I do for a living. I bombed. I mean, I totally bombed. It was horrible. I completely soiled myself because I was nervous to talk to 4-year-olds. Because they don't know what the hell a radio is. They have no idea. So
and may never know, actually.
Yeah, they may never know. They may never know. Well, thank you. Thanks for doing that with Devin yesterday. I'll try to get in touch with him soon, too.
Busy day, though, for sure.
Busy day. Sports-filled, though. That's the way you like it.
Yeah, as sports-filled as it was, didn't feel like there was a lot of sports yesterday
weird,
at the same time. It is weird. Still to come, I can do my look ahead. I did prepare my sexy Saturday college football lineup for you. We also have more giveaways coming up. Paulie, do you want to, shall we do the Reptile Expo or the Aztecs Gonzaga tickets next?
Let's do Reptile.
Reptile Expo, the surprisingly popular ticket prize we've been giving away this week. Last chance to win tickets to the Reptile Expo. We will get to that coming up. And then at the bottom of the hour, Woodsy found something on X.
We're dead.
That is not a good sign for any of us.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I couldn't find where this data was pulled from.
I couldn't either, but I don't care.
But if it's
true,
anything close to true,
you better hold on to your wives like grim death because it's rough out there. Yeah, men, listen up.
We're all hopeless. Coming up on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Juan Soto reportedly met with the Boston Red Sox yesterday, who made a 3-hour presentation.
It's too long.
So that was going to be my question.
I need 20 minutes, man.
You are trying to make what is going to be, one of the biggest decisions of your life if you're Juan Soto.
Yeah, but you're... Okay, go ahead.
You certainly want a lot of information. You won't, you don't want to go in blind. But at the same time, after like an hour and a half, are you like, all right, I get it. I understand.
If you're Juan Soto, you've been in baseball for a long time, and you've played in Boston. You have friends that play for the Red Sox, right? You know what it entails. You know the city. You've been there plenty. What do you need more than about 45 minutes to an hour of? I want to know how we look going into next season, how we look for the next 5 years, and for Juan, most importantly, how much are you paying me, and what are the benefits? What are the perks that I'm going to get? Right?
The process of wooing a free agent.
It's got to be mortifying.
Which the Padres are going to have to do with, Roki Sasaki is going to be heavily wooed. You can't woo him with money. So that's really going to be talking about city and culture and, the organization. But ultimately, and tell me if you disagree, the differences between the 30 major league teams, they're there, but it's subtle, Yeah, the A's and the Yankees, it's definitely a different vibe, and it's going to be different. But the players already understand that. No one needs to sit down and explain, all right, we're the New York Yankees. Here's what we do. You really have a pretty good idea of what it is going into it. Now, I've seen the behind the scenes where they bring him to the ballpark and put their video, name up on the scoreboard and everything. I think for a lot of guys, like for me, that would be a big eye roll. Like
I think you would be so mortified.
Yeah.
I think it would be like embarrassing.
So how do you know the difference between the guy who wants to be buttered up a little bit and the guy who's like, just give it to me straight? I know my right hand from my left hand here. You don't have to treat me like I'm an infant that you're trying to, here's a pacifier, here's a rattle, here's a shiny object. Just, make me the offer. Tell me a little bit about your organization, and then I'll make my decision. And just keep it kind of at a business level.
Crazy. Like to go into a 3-hour presentation, if you're Juan Soto. And look,
what can you say? I mean, we're very historic. We've got this old ballpark. Yes, I know. I've played there 100 times.
And I think part of it, too, I don't feel like it's much like a job interview. Like they know what they're getting in Juan Soto. They've done their homework, too. So if they're going to do this pitch, that means they want you. Or it means we need to placate our fan base a little bit.
They know so much about Juan Soto, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is nothing like a typical job interview where you're finding out about the candidate and their strengths and weaknesses. They may know Juan Soto better than Juan Soto knows Juan Soto going into some of these meetings. So what could you possibly say or talk about for 3 hours?
Remember when we talked to... when Manny and AJ have told their story a bunch, and it was like a 10-hour meeting or something ridiculous. But that one I kind of understand because, the Padres aren't the Red Sox.
We weren't the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. And, he was being wooed by a couple other teams.
If you want to actually get to know the people that you may be committing to, the general manager, the manager, ownership, whether you feel like on the same wave level, like you believe in the same things, you believe in the same goal, the vision. Yeah, there's no substitute for spending time with those people. But it's not a hard sell. It's like, hey, let's go out and play golf. Let's go out and, just have a meal and just talk. But what can you sell someone on that organization that's really going to be a differentiator between any other organization in Major League Baseball?
God, it would be tough, man. It'd be so tough to be on both sides of it. I mean, if you're on one side of it, it's a really good problem to have. Cadillac problem to go to 10 organizations where they all want you and they're going to pay you an exorbitant amount of money, and they're going to put their best foot forward, certainly. But if you're the organizations, knowing what did they offer? How do we make this sweeter than what the Red Sox did? I mean, it's got to be just excruciating.
You also know, as much love as they are showing you and showering you with praise and money and offers and we will do anything for you. We want you here so badly. The second you go in a 2-week-long slump, people will boo you. There's no immunity to that. There's no city in America where you could say, well, our fans, they'll never turn on you, even if you have a bad season, even if you get hurt. No, I mean, there's nothing you can promise an athlete that is going to turn out because it's all going to depend on how they play, how they perform on the field, whether it's a good contract or a bad contract.
I mean, look, be honest. He's a phenomenal fit in Boston. He's a phenomenal fit, really, anywhere. But for him, he is a phenomenal fit there. I mean, again, you can go up against the team that, that didn't come out and get you after you helped lead them to a World Series, and they're going to have their opportunity. And what a weird position for them to be in. But you throw him there, that's a game changer. I mean, it's a franchise changer. It's a history changer. Juan Soto in Boston. Imagine him peppering balls off that wall. Imagine him ripping balls down the pesky pole. I mean, great place to hit. Great place to hit. I mean, his numbers.
Would you worry about him out in right field there, like defensively?
Well, I mean, I'd put him in left because
you would.
Yeah, they put Manny Ramirez. I mean, you play left field. Yeah, they had Manny Ramirez out there for years.
There's not a lot of ground to cover.
You can't.
There's a special skill level, and experience required to play the balls off the wall and figure out
Manny
how
Ramirez
works,
played left field. So you could, after an afternoon of tutelage, Ben, if they had to put you somewhere. Now, center field in Fenway, different story entirely. Right field, I think, is a different story. But I think Juan Soto, if he goes to Boston, he's the left fielder. I mean, that's where they put they hide guys there, and they have for many, many years. So I think he's a phenomenal fit there. He's a phenomenal fit for both New York teams. I really think it's going to be an East Coast scene for him. I really do. I think it's going to be. And Philly is. I've heard a rumor. Philly is pretty interested in him as well. So I just get the sense he's going to be on the East Coast.
Yeah,
watch him sign with the Angels,
Phillies, Yankees, Red Sox, somewhere up there. Right?
Yeah. Adam says, would he know how to play the monster? No, not off the shoot, but he would learn. He would learn. They have the monster at spring training. Like that dude, they would not put him anywhere else but left field. That would be my guess.
Juan Soto. I mean, again, has he won the Gold Glove? Been nominated for the Gold Glove?
He's won one before, I think. Yep.
He's not a bad defender.
He's not great.
He may be overrated somewhat, but he'll figure it out. He's a savvy baseball player and a guy. It won't take him that long.
Chris says you just got to be able to turn around at Fenway Park. Pretty much, yeah. They hit one on the screws. You just turn around and wait. You're like Dennis Rodman. You're just rebounding at that point. But no, him in that lineup would be ridiculous. Him and Devers. Oh my God, forget it. He instantly makes them a contender.
I just can't see the Yankees letting that happen.
I can't either. I cannot either. But they're already paying Judge $600. What are you going to pay Soto? $700? You got
the Yankees.
I know. You got $130 million tied up in two players. It's insane.
All right, we have what's been a very popular prize this week, our last family 4-pack of tickets. It's the first annual Del Mar San Diego Reptile Expo this weekend at the Hilton San Diego Del Mar. Take your kids, see the creepy crawlies in Del Mar. I don't know. Kids tend to go wild over reptiles and snakes and all that sort of stuff. You can get your tickets at CentralValleyReptileExpo.com, or you can call. Be the third caller right now. Win a 4-pack of tickets. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Call now for your chance to win. Yeah, we're going to dive into hobbies when we come back.
This is so good. Single men out there, you're going to want to listen up. Married men, you're going to want to buy your wife some flowers today so you're not single again.
I agree. With Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I don't love the word hobbies. I don't know why. I mean, if you're passionate about it, it's not. Is it a hobby?
Yes.
Hobby sounds very casual. Well, it's a hobby.
Like I play the guitar. That's a hobby because I don't make
Well, you're not
money.
Professional.
Right.
You're certainly
You're
not a professional.
passionate about your job.
Yeah. It's not a hobby.
It's not a hobby.
Mm-mm. No, this is not a hobby.
So what is a hobby?
Something something
you
in
care
addition
about or
to.
you don't care about?
Oh no, you care about it.
You do care about
it. Oh,
it.
big time.
It's a hobby.
Big time. Big time. I mean, this is a passion of mine, but I'm also passionate about other things that I don't make money on that actually cost me money sometimes. So I think it's the word hobby that's bothering me.
Like I would say, I love playing golf.
Is it a passion?
I don't consider golf my hobby
It's
necessarily.
your hobby. It's your hobby. It's not your profession.
No, it's not my profession.
So it's your hobby.
But I take it seriously.
Sure. But
That's okay in a hobby.
You can take your hobbies very seriously. Right?
Like, I feel like my wife bounces around sometimes between hobbies. She did the cross stitching. She's done different beads. Like, those to me maybe those are crafts more than hobbies.
That's more crafts. And she gets all the material at Hobby Lobby. So
Right.
that explains it more.
I also hate the name of that store.
I do too. Paulie, what are your hobbies?
Dude, I have no idea.
Basketball?
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
a hobby?
Yeah, basketball.
Baseball?
little
Tier 1
golf,
baseball?
Little baseball.
Little golf?
But I was looking at this list. Yikes.
So that's where we're heading here,
Yikes.
because Woods shared this with us earlier in the week, and we don't know
I
this.
died. I don't know the source.
The science behind it, if it does exist, but it's a list of hobbies that women find attractive in men. Correct?
Yes.
And I am not proficient or really even interested in most of these. And, is that a problem? I mean, I'm already married, but maybe if I started some of these hobbies, would things be going better for me? Who knows?
Maybe. But the title of it was, I got to scroll back through our tweets or our texts to find it because we text each other a lot. But it was essentially the hobbies that women find most attractive in a man.
Right.
And, they polled a certain amount of women and the top 15 most attractive hobbies.
It originally sparked from what are like left-coded male hobbies and obsessions.
Yeah.
Like right-coded is, I know all the right, like UFC, weightlifting, comedy, like stuff that scratches the right side of the brain, but the left side is what was specifically asked. And yeah, we got the top 15 most attractive hobbies to women.
So number one, the most attractive thing you can do for a woman. Well, should we go in reverse? You tell me. You do it.
All right, let's
First, we should go to traffic.
Let's go to traffic
Let's
first.
go to traffic, and then we'll reveal some of these hobbies. I will tell you, watching baseball is not one of them, unfortunately.
That's a right side.
Watching basketball, watching football,
listening to sports radio,
watching golf. None of these are considered attractive hobbies.
Self-seduction.
What are? We will let you know after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Well, guys, the roads are dry, but you'd think it was raining with all these crashes. What is going on? Southbound side of the 805 before the 905, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. It's over to the right shoulder. Also going to find a collision on northbound 125 right around Hamishaw. Those vehicles are in the center divide. Southbound 5 at the North 15 connector ramp, collision involving several vehicles. That's all over to the right shoulder. On the Coronado Bridge, heading over to the island about mid-span, we have reports of a stalled vehicle. Tow truck is rolling up to help out with that. Coastline Ride is having some problems as well. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows collision on the Cannon Road off-ramp southbound at 5. Also, South 5 before Leucadia, reports of a collision involving several vehicles. In fact, looks like a light pole got knocked down over the right shoulder. Watch out for some debris in lanes. Get 9.5% APY rate on a 5-month certificate for a limited time at Cal Coast Credit Union as they celebrate 95 years of community. $500 minimum balance. Restrictions apply. Insured by NCUA. Visit calcoastcu.org/celebrate. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, we got a lot of non-attractive hobbies being suggested. Netflix, not a attractive hobby apparently. Collecting hats doesn't appear to be an attractive hobby.
Yeah, you're not.
To the opposite sex.
If you brought a girl home and said, this is my hat collection, I don't know, she'd be like, wow. Maybe, depending on what she's into, but this is more of a general idea here.
Like, there are a lot of women who are into shoes, but I don't know that they're into guys who collect their own, like, sneakers.
Paulie does.
Is collection...
Oh, Paul, you have a good sneaker collection.
Yes.
Does Megan care about it at all?
Yeah.
She does.
I think so.
She likes your
encourages
sneakers.
it.
She encourages and
like, those are cool.
is into that.
She's
as well.
encouraging your hobbies because she's a good wife.
Is collecting a hobby?
Is collecting a hobby?
I
I think it is. I think it's the definition of a hobby. If you collect baseball cards, that's a hobby, right?
But that's not a probably attractive hobby.
No.
Rock collection?
Nope.
Not that attractive.
Not in there. So give me some of the ones on this list.
All right. Well, let's start with this one's actually cooking. Yeah. You know what? I get that. You know, a guy who's competent in the kitchen, passionate, can whip up a good lasagna or Filet of sole. I don't know. I can see why that would be attractive. I get that.
I don't know why that got me so much. Whip up a good lasagna. All right. Cooking is a very attractive hobby for either.
I think
either
everybody
sex.
appreciates someone who can cook them a good meal, male or female.
What is that like?
Oh, I know what it's like.
You know what it's like.
I know exactly what it's like. It's great.
No one DoorDash is better than my missus. No one on the planet. What else?
How about hiking?
Yes, women love. Oh God, if I hiked more with Hannah, I would probably get more action. I don't.
Wouldn't you just be tired all the time?
Yeah.
All right, those make kind of sense. Traveling, playing an instrument. You play an instrument.
Yeah, she hates it. So
not working for you.
Nope, never has. Nope, she absolutely.
Maybe you're not playing it the right way.
No, I play it the right way. She absolutely loathes when she sees me walk into the office and grab a guitar. She's like, all right, I'm going out to the garage. She loathes it.
Then there's some ones that are a little more surprising. Swimming. I mean,
Is that a hobby?
See, this one's not
Isn't
fair.
that just exercise?
If you look like a swimmer, like if you swim and you look like Michael Phelps,
They're going to be
it's an
attracted to you.
attractive hobby.
Yes.
If you watch me swim, I promise you, it's not an attractive hobby.
Just flailing.
Out of all the things that I've seen you do, and I've made you do so many things, I've never even thought to make you swim.
Splashing around in the water.
I bet you're
Tan
allowed.
lines,
I bet you're allowed swim hair.
No, the attractive hobby is the
dead.
guys with the perfectly ripped physiques who, have no body hair.
So they
and
like swimmers.
That's an attractive hobby.
Yeah, swimmers, not swimming.
That's what I think.
That is absolutely fantastic. Gardening.
Gardening.
Women find gardening attractive. I do feel like that is true.
Get your hands in the dirt.
Hands in the dirt. You're creating something. You're growing something. That's
producing from the earth.
Painting. I think Hannah would hate it because it's messy. If I was like, I'm going to start painting now, she'd be like, oh.
Gardening, I feel like Megan would be like, oh, you can go play in the dirt again?
Play in the dirt again. Woodworking.
Peyton Manning. Peyton? Have you seen that commercial?
No.
It's another one of Peyton's great bad commercials.
Foreign languages, I think, is an attractive. I think it's attractive. Or are you showing off?
I mean, if you know how to speak a little French, that's probably good.
Yeah.
If you know how to speak German, I doubt that
great.
that's helping you as much.
Writing?
Writing is not a hobby,
Yes,
is it?
It is, yes.
Writing.
You have
Like,
you're
what are you
really
writing?
hung
Yeah,
up on.
I would say that.
You're really hung up on the definition of hobby. This one I don't get. Astronomy. Blacksmithing. There's a few
There's
in
two
there.
right there.
And
What women out there are like,
hang
oh,
on, babe.
He's
Clang,
a blacksmith?
clang,
Whoa.
clang.
Here, I made you a horseshoe.
This seems more out of the world of maybe romantic fiction.
Yes.
With those novels that you can buy with a blacksmith on the cover. But
Archery. And we have an archer that listens to our show. He's way into it. Our buddy Brandon.
Yes.
He's a big archer. I don't know how much it's helped him in the
You ever
ladies.
approached a woman at a bar? Like, hey,
I'm an archer.
I'm an archer.
It's kind of cool.
Why is
though.
archery cooler than golf, though? You're simply trying to send something toward a target.
Same thing.
It's basically golf.
Because this golf has the DB quotient in it. You know what I mean? And so I think archer is pretty badass. Number one, though, is reading. That's the most attractive quality.
Well, I can do that.
I do that.
I can
love
sit
to
and read. I want to go back to astronomy here for a second.
Okay.
Is that just someone who knows the stars and the planets and can point them out to you is appealing and attractive?
Well, I think for it to be labeled a hobby, you'd have to be pretty interested in it, not just know about it. But
Like with your telescope and stuff?
Like you go out to the desert, like it's dark, and
Ooh.
you set up your telescope, and that'd probably be pretty cool.
Pretty cool. What hobbies are attractive for men in women?
Ooh. We don't have a list for this.
No, we're just making this up as we go. Because if we did the same
Carnal relations.
Ben,
where's the list? Is it still up, Paulie?
Yeah.
Let's see it. All right. So in women, if we flipped it around, a woman that reads is attractive.
Yeah, I agree.
A woman that speaks a foreign language, I think it's very attractive. A woman that plays an instrument, yeah, very hot. A woman that cooks, I've never seen one.
The pot roast I had for dinner last night.
I saw the picture of it. My God.
Choice.
My God. It looks phenomenal.
Insane.
God bless.
I had to wait like an extra. She was a little off on the timing. She goes, I should be ready by 5. It was more like 8.
8, yeah. Worth the wait.
Worth it.
Woodworking in a woman.
Woodworking.
I would not find it super sexy. Painting in a woman, if she was like a really good
How do we define
painter.
I feel like
Paulie, writing, Hannah's a great writer. It is very attractive.
Yeah.
Gardening, sure. Swimming, no. Photography, yes. Astronomy, no.
So photography is one. We didn't mention that one. I don't know that is that cool or attractive.
Which one?
Photography.
I think it's pretty cool.
Well,
if you can take a good picture, because I can't.
See, if you're the kind of person who like has an old school camera and then develops your own really like black and white cool pictures
Our boy
in a
Brian
dark
Sims,
room,
incredible.
That's incredible. If you're just taking your iPhone, and,
no,
like,
that's not true.
Here's the sunset.
I can't take them. I cannot take a picture. Every one I send to my wife, I'm like, this is terrible. So I think it's attractive. Astronomy, no. Hiking, not really. Archery, no. Blacksmithing, absolutely not. Traveling, yes. Preferably solo and leaving me home with the kids. Very, very attractive. Massively attractive. I hope you're having a blast in New York City.
She's simply on her trip to help attract you.
That's right.
With her traveling hobby.
Very attracted to her right now. Very. Megan says Paul puts gas in my car. That's nice. That's
not
nice
a
thing.
hobby.
It's not a hobby. It's his favorite hobby. What are you doing? You taking my car again? More gas? I have plenty.
I'm just doing it for fun now.
It's one of my hobbies.
Gassing.
Megan and Ben are having a hard time defining what a hobby is.
I mean, I enjoy eating.
Yeah.
I don't call it a hobby.
Do women like zins and golf and adult league baseball? Collecting vinyl? Oh, she hates every single hobby I have. Unless that hobby is, wiping butts and putting kids to sleep, she's out on it. Literally. I'm telling you. I can't think of a hobby of mine that she goes, oh, that's so rad.
Taking care of your own kids.
Yes,
is not
it's not a hobby. Exactly. It's the only thing that attracts her. That and the scent of bleach. That's it. That's the only way you can get her. Megan has no hobbies, she says. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty well-rounded. I have a few of these on mine. How many do you have?
Of the ones that are on the list,
One.
just reading.
You write for your job, but you have to.
It's not a hobby.
It's not a hobby. You don't write for fun.
I don't write for fun.
Please start writing poetry.
I'm not going to write poetry
prose,
for fun.
Short stories. Have you ever wanted to write a short story? Have you ever had any ideas?
Like, there was one point where, I sat down in front of the computer to start my novel. I think I got about 2 paragraphs in. I go, I'm not, this
What was
is not
it going to
for
be
me.
about?
I wanted to, write a mystery of some sort.
Did you?
But I never really came up with the mystery of any sorts.
Did you have an idea, or were you just going to see if it
yeah,
flowed?
I thought maybe it would just flow if I started, but...
Do you have it?
Yeah. No. Didn't get far enough in to even say. I didn't even hit save.
No, just deleted it right away. So what'd you give, about 30 minutes and walked away?
Yeah, that was a very short-lived hobby.
See, I'm more like
writing.
I don't enjoy reading. I can read.
I
know how to read.
I love it so much, and I never get the time to do it.
I'm not a good cook.
I can.
I wish I was much better.
Me too.
I have actually considered and looked into a cooking class.
Yeah.
Something to do on the side. I would love to be better at cooking. And it's not like learn how to make this recipe, but learning what goes with what.
I can follow a recipe.
Ingredients. I can follow, of course, but to be able to look at, you open your cabinet, you see spices and different herbs
make
and all
something.
that, and
Create.
I know what I can do with all of this.
I'm actually decent in the kitchen, but when you live with someone who's just so good at it, it kind of takes out some of the fun of trying to make things. Because
all these, I don't write anymore. I don't journal or anything like that, but
I have
growing up, in high school and even college, creative writing was always my favorite type of schoolwork.
Interesting. Do you have golf's like your only hobby, I would say.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's good. That's all you need.
Is it?
We have one that you're passionate about.
I mean, I don't mind hiking. I wouldn't consider it a hobby, but going for a good walk.
A walk's different than a hike.
That's a good point.
Hiking up Potato Chip Rock. That's not fun for me. That's not what I want to spend my Saturday doing.
You know, we will do like a longer hike when I'm on vacation or something. We go like a 3-mile hike through the nature.
A lot of men in the chat saying video games, despite what they may tell you, is actually a very sexy hobby for women. They love watching you play MLB The Show. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. That's I like that segment. And I think, again, good reason to hang on to your wife like grim death.
No kidding.
Because if you had to get back out there again, it's not going to look good for any of us. Listening to Ben and Woods is a great hobby.
Can I take a blacksmithing class
I think
somewhere?
so. I think so. I thought you already had.
Why or where's that?
I thought you already had taken one. Didn't you have to make horseshoes one time?
Shoe a horse?
Didn't you have to make horseshoes one time? I swear to God, Shelley dragged you to a horseshoe making class. I swear, when we first started.
He had a Groupon.
He had a Groupon. I swear to God. No, he did. He did. I'm telling you. I know you've checked with your missus.
She doesn't
but
remember any blacksmithing.
It was some sort of iron
You
work.
said that you looked it up. There's like you could do a blacksmithing class.
Yeah, there's one
somewhere
in Vista or something.
Do they like have a forge where you like
Maybe
start melting metal? I mean, that
so
sounds
cool.
dangerous.
Sounds kind of cool though. Now that you mention it, but I'm not joking. Paulie remembers too.
Yeah, I
we were
remember
like
this.
3 weeks into the show. We didn't know each
Very
other.
early.
We didn't know each other at all. And I remember Ben walking in on a Friday. Now this was back in the day when you were at Channel 10 till like midnight, and you would get home at 1, and you would go to sleep at 1:30, and then you would come in at 4:30. And he walked in on a Friday looking like a corpse. And I go, at a break, I said, what are you doing after the show? And I didn't know Ben at all. 3 weeks we've been on the air together. And he goes, I got to go to this. I'll just call it blacksmithing because that's what I remember. Shell wants me to go to this blacksmithing class. And I go, excuse me? And you said, yeah, I got to go do this thing. And I go, well, that's the fundamental difference in you and me, because my phone call would have been like, I just worked 19 hours straight. Leave a sandwich by the bed, please, and I'm going to take a nap until 7 tonight. Like, clear out, get the air conditioning down, turn the bed cover down for me, please. I'm coming home, and I'm certainly not blacksmithing with you.
I mean, I've definitely not done this. I'm looking it up. The Escondido Blacksmith Guild, a unique organization dedicated to preserving, teaching the art of blacksmithing. And they do classes, 4-week classes, where beginning students learn to make simple household items and tools.
Like a spoon?
The basic instruction includes building, maintaining coal fires, an introduction to the tools and their use, general safety. Students will make a church key bottle opener, railroad spike stake turner, punch and chisel, and finally a pair of tongs for your final project. You know, you can also just go to Target and buy tongs.
What's
nowadays.
the fun in that? That actually sounds kind of fun.
I made these tongs myself in my blacksmithing class.
Do your wives drag you out to do stuff? Do they get that it's almost like a moment of inspiration where they're like, we need to do more blank. So we need to go to a paint and sip or like a cooking class together.
We talk about
it a lot.
We rarely follow through.
Mostly it's her suggesting it and me immediately crapping all over it and saying, I'm exhausted. Absolutely not.
We
There's
did a
no way.
couple's pottery class last year.
Oh, yeah,
right around Megan's birthday.
I remember
and
that.
It was one of those
Patrick
she
and
wanted to do
Demi.
it. We had never done it, but neither of us had ever done it before.
I remember.
I made the worst looking
Was it ashtray?
dishes or whatever you could possibly. It was like, yeah, it looks like an ashtray, I guess.
Did you toss it?
It was supposed to be no, we still have it.
Oh, do you?
It was supposed to be like a bowl or a cup or something. It just did not. It was so deformed.
Looked like the cup from Indiana Jones.
Megan loves it. She's like, it's
that dirty ass.
You chose wisely.
That dirty ass cup.
It was like spinning fast, and like my thumb just like jacked up the side of it. And they're like, "Sorry, you're that's how it's gonna look now." And it's like a Ryle family heirloom now.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, we talk a lot about, well, we should do this and this, and I just, my immediate reaction is no. Every time. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Sorry. Maybe I should start saying yes more.
I think for me, I don't know, I guess I know that even if I went to a blacksmithing class, it's not something that's going to be useful. I'm putting in a forge in my house and just going to start. You know what? Instead of going and buying silverware now, I'm going to spend weeks and months crafting my own set of silverware. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you feel like
it's just like a one-off.
It would be cool to try one time.
It's just but it's a one-off.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a skill I'm ever going to need or use in my life.
And you're not going to go home and say, I'd like to get my own gear and do this at home.
I don't.
I'm fascinated by a lot of stuff, but the people that are just so like, I always think about this. I don't have it, like as a dad, right? I don't have a thing. Like if my kids, when they're older, hey, what was your dad's thing? They'll be like sitting on his ass, laying in his bed, watching TV, like occasionally playing the guitar, playing some records. Like my dad used to smoke meat. There it is. Paulie, put it up on the chat. That's incredible.
Supposed to be a cup.
Looks like a turd.
It's avant-garde.
But I don't have like a thing. Like your thing is golf. Your kids will be like, oh, my dad was a great golfer. I don't really have a thing. I don't make great chili. I don't have like, oh, my dad's famous jalapeno poppers. I don't have anything.
Nothing.
I have nothing. What are they going to say about me? They literally be like, oh, he sits on his ass in bed and watches TV and movies.
You listen to music.
Yeah.
You got a vinyl collection.
I do
you
have
can
vinyl.
play the guitar a little bit.
But it's not my thing. You know what I mean? Oh, my dad used to smoke these briskets. You know, I'm just not that dad. Had to hire a guy to come put in a shower.
You know what my dad could
day.
do, which was I always thought was amazing, and I bet you can do it as well. I never really could. Throw great batting practice.
Oh, I throw great BP.
Just
great BP.
Consistent
Boom.
over
That's
and
an attractive
over
hobby.
again.
I can,
boom,
yeah, I'd be
boom.
okay.
Like for hours.
Yeah,
Just,
hours.
pitch, batting practice.
Yeah.
It's in there. He was really good at it.
Yeah, what is your legacy?
Oh, I'm really good with a fungo.
Yeah, fungos are tough. They're hard. And it's hard to hit 6-year-olds
I
fungos.
can't hit a fungo.
It's, what's my thing? Nate says you played ball. They will remember that. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate it, man.
All right. I think we've exhausted the topic of
Hobby
hobbies.
Lobby. That's the Ben and Woods Hobby Lobby. Hope you enjoyed it.
Now it's time for the Ryle Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Ryle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Ryle Report with Paul Ryle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Ryle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We will start off today. We talked about it earlier. Kind of a slow sports day, but we will start off in Major League Baseball. The Yankees announced John Sterling's radio replacement yesterday. It had been rumored earlier in the week, and it was all confirmed and announced officially yesterday that Dave Sims is going to replace John Sterling as the Yankees play-by-play. He'll be partnered with Susan Waldman on WFAN. And Dave Sims grew up in the New York area. He's a New York boy, but for the last, I think he said 18 years, he had actually been the voice of the Seattle Mariners. And so now he's coming home, and he's going to be the voice of the Yankees. I thought it was interesting. He's 71 years old. Now, you can do that job for a while, but if you're like the Yankees and you're replacing a guy who just retired at age 86, do you look for younger, or do you just get the best fit?
I think you get the best
at
fit.
71, you go another 10, 15 years and figure it out again then?
It's a good question.
That's a good question. That's an insightful question.
I mean,
and
Ted Leitner, when he retired, we had Jesse Agler. We didn't have somebody that was 10 years younger than Ted.
That's true.
I think the idea of bringing a New York guy home, though, with experience. I mean, the Yankees broadcasting job is not an introductory position.
No.
You're not.
You don't want to learn on the fly.
You're probably not lifting generally someone from the minor leagues to take that over. You want a proven baseball announcer, which Dave Sims is. Now, I don't even know. 17 years with the Mariners?
Mm-hmm.
God, they got to be so sad, the fans
yeah,
there.
but I think it's a whole new ball game going to the Yankees.
Better gig.
I bet he's nervous going in.
It's a better gig.
If you're not familiar with Dave Sims, he had a couple of calls that were going around yesterday. I think John Boy or somebody shared one of his huge calls from a couple of years ago, postseason or late September baseball. And this is what Dave Sims sounds like. This is what you'll be hearing on WFAN starting next year.
Just need a base hit. You got JP's going to be flying from second.
So great.
You got the bases loaded. Bowers well fouled down the third base line. Biggest pitch of the year here for the Mariners. 3-2, bases loaded. Cishek, the pitch. Base hit left field. Here comes JP. Bauer scores. JP scores. Mitch Haniger. What a night. What a night.
That's fantastic.
I'm telling you, hey now, hey now, hey now.
That's a fantastic call.
Wow.
Look at him. He's so demonstrative in there, too. That is badass.
He looks good.
He
For
looks
71.
great.
Yeah, I would have never thought. Although I learned yesterday, this stunned me. Maybe you knew this. Denzel turns 70 next month.
That's shocking.
Crazy.
That is
shocking.
That's shocking. I mean, you see the pictures of Tom Cruise at 62. Go, how can he look so young? Denzel's almost 70.
That's a great call, dude.
I
Wow.
love on my Twitter feed when it comes up what Wilford Brimley was 46 when he was in Cocoon.
Yeah, he was 37 years old.
I saw one last week that Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi, was 55 when he was in, people.
I would have thought he was 70 years old.
People look so much older, just like 30, 40 years ago.
I'm telling you, hey now.
That was good stuff.
Hey now, hey now.
That's so great,
I think that's
man.
his catchphrase. Hey now, hey now, hey now.
That's really good. That's going to sound really good for the Yanks, man. You got to be bummed. I mean, 17 years calling radio games. Jesse Agler's already been with us, what, 10?
I think he's coming up on 10 years. Yeah.
Which is insane. And imagine 7 more years of Jesse, and then he splits for the Yankees. He'd be so bummed. So bummed.
I don't even like putting that out in the universe.
I don't either.
All right. Like I said, slow sports day, but we will. I thought this was a little bit interesting. I've seen videos of this kid. He is. His name is Oliver Rue. Rioux.
Yeah.
Rue. He is the world's tallest teenager. He is 7
I've heard about this guy.
9. And he signed with Florida University of Florida basketball.
Okay.
And he is going to have to wait. They're going to redshirt him, they officially announced. He's a freshman, but they're going to redshirt him because if he plays even a minute this year, it would burn a year of eligibility for him, and he's not quite ready yet for college basketball. He's unbelievable. I remember I saw a video of him in like a layup line. He just reaches up and dunks the ball, and then he goes to the back of the layup line, and some guy jumps and high fives him like pregame. And I saw that the guy that jumped to high five him was 7'1".
Oh my God! I'm looking at him right now. Holy smokes!
No, I don't think
he's from Canada. He's got a spot in the Guinness World Record book already. 7'9" freshman.
No, he's not like Wemby. He's not considered an elite basketball.
No, he's
prospect.
7'9", and they said you're going to learn how to play basketball.
Yeah, they're like you have to play basketball.
How tall's Wemby again?
Wemby's like 7'4", I think. 7'4", 7'5". 50 points the other night, by the way.
50.
7'3".
Kid is getting good fast.
This dude is 6 inches taller than Wemby.
Yeah.
And Wemby,
and think about that. Think about, whatever. If you're 6 feet tall, how much taller a guy who's 6'6" looks?
Yeah.
This is Wemby at 7'3". That's how much taller this kid would look to Wemby.
It's rad that he's doing this. I feel for him a little bit, though. I do. I feel for those guys that are so tall. Your lifestyle is just instantly impacted.
It's an awkward age to begin with.
Yes.
And there was a college player 10 plus years ago who was 7'6", 7'7", and I read, I think it was an ESPN story or whatever about him, and he's like, it sucks.
Beds, planes,
they have to make
cars.
special accommodations when we travel. I have to have an entire row on the airplane to myself, and it's still uncomfortable. There's nothing they can do. But he's 7'9", 8. I think he's only 18 years old, and they've had 2 home games I think so far this year. The Gators have, and the fans have been chanting Ali.
They've been cheering for him,
and they haven't put him in yet. And so they've just decided right now where he's at, we're just gonna redshirt him. So I'm sure you'll still see a ton of videos coming out of practice and stuff of this kid.
He's 3 inches away from being 8 feet tall.
It's crazy. And you see Wemby, too. And every time I see Wemby, I'm like, he looks like he's going to snap in half. Every time he runs down, he's so athletic, obviously. And, you don't score 50 points in an NBA game by just being tall. You can't just be tall.
No.
You have to be athletic and really good. But every time I see him, I'm like, please don't snap in half. He looks like he's going to fall over. It's crazy. All right, so he'll make his debut next year.
Yes. That's the plan. And then finally, a little Hollywood news here. The Oscars will be coming up here shortly in a couple of months, and we have a new host that was named officially this morning for the Oscars.
I saw that Jimmy Kimmel said, no, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, when I think of the Oscars, he's done it the last, 2 years. How many years in a row did Billy Crystal do it?
God, he was great too.
Chris Rock was
there was
really
always
good.
he would they would stop and then he would come back and then he would stop and they always bring him back because he was pretty good at it. But from what Jimmy Kimmel says, it's a thankless job. It's a hard job.
I bet it's so hard.
And it's. I get it. It's high profile.
Do they get paid for that, or do they pay to do it? The halftime show at the Super Bowl, the artists pay to do that. They are not. Rihanna was not paid to do the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm curious. I don't know. Anyways, Conan O'Brien has been named the host of the Academy Awards. It's the first time he's done it. I would have sworn he had done it already before.
He'll be great.
I think he'll be phenomenal. I think he'll be great.
I agree.
I watched him. He's on that Elvis doc that I referenced earlier.
You seem to be a big fan.
I'm not a huge fan.
Of Elvis? Or Conan?
Elvis. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Massive. What did I learn?
What did you learn about Elvis?
Oh, my God. You guys know he did not perform for 7 years before he went up and did that special at 68. And
so from 1961 to 1968, he did what?
He did movies. Horrible crap vanilla movies that the Colonel Tom Parker forced him to do and did not perform on
stage. So who's
stage.
the Colonel, Tom Parker?
He was his manager.
Okay.
And he's brilliant. I mean, he's brilliant. Turned him into a worldwide superstar. That being said, it all came at a cost. So the 68 special, he gets on stage. You guys have all seen the pictures, him in the leather, sitting down, jamming. I mean, it gives me chills. He was so nervous, he almost didn't go out. He goes, I'm not doing this. Because the Beatles had come around, Bob Dylan had come around, all these. Elvis is out there doing these corny movies about, being on the beach and stuff like that and singing really bad music that he didn't write and, was given to him and he had to do. And he went out there and he showed the world why he was Elvis Presley. And I tweeted yesterday, or I put on Blue Sky, I said, no one's ever looked better, ever, than Elvis in that 68 special. When he walks out on stage, it's such a good doc. And Priscilla, his wife at the time, that's the first time she ever saw him perform. And she said she was watching him perform.
So they got married after.
Yeah, when he was in
his movie.
So she'd
career
seen,
stage.
she'd seen
clips,
but she'd never seen him live perform on stage. And she goes, I'm sitting up there in the balcony, and these women next to me are talking like, oh my God, look how sexy he is. And she's like, oh my God, I'm married to that. She had never seen it before. And it was at that moment she realized, whew, I'm married to Elvis Presley. And it's such a good doc, man. It's 2 hours, it goes by like that. Conan's in it, and it is phenomenal. Baz Luhrmann's in it. Robbie Robertson's in it. It's really good. Really good. Highly recommend it.
Thank you, Paulie.
Thank you, Paulie.
Very welcome.
What would it be like? Obviously, we'll never know. But to be someone who is considered, like we were talking about, people's sexiest man on earth, like someone who is like legitimately
it's tough.
Attractive.
I'll tell you right now,
sexy.
it's not the easiest thing in the world.
You do not know.
It's not the easiest thing in the world.
How would you handle it?
Not well.
You could certainly make a mess of it. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't go well.
Interesting.
That's all I can say.
I mean,
really.
Elvis didn't. I mean, obviously,
it didn't go well for him.
He had his struggles as well.
He did. You got to watch this doc. You got to watch it. It's so good. I think you don't even have to like Elvis and you'll like it. It's really good.
A lot of Netflix to watch today.
Lots of Netflix.
Got a little preview of the college football day tomorrow. Super sexy Saturday college football lineup coming up. And our second and final pair of San Diego State basketball tickets for Monday's showdown against Gonzaga. Your chance to win.
We update yet on Miles Bird?
I can give you that update as
All right,
well. Coming up next with Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Who won the Aztecs tickets, Paulie? Did I not give them away?
We're doing that now.
We're doing
Oh,
that.
that's right. Oh, well, there you go.
So Friday.
We're about to do that. Would have been a nice transition because I wanted to give the update, as you said.
You still can.
We don't. Well, we will give away the tickets in a second. Miles Bird was out of his boot at practice yesterday, but did not look like he was ready to play a basketball game. I saw some video of him hobbling around a little bit. I think he was mostly on the exercise cycle during practice. Now, that doesn't mean he won't be better by Monday, but I can imagine that Brian Dutcher at this point is thinking, I don't know if we want to keep pushing this and, it's a long season. It's
a long season. They're a really good, really, really good team in Gonzaga. Do you run the risk of running a 75% Miles Bird out there in a game that you're favored fairly heavily to lose anyway? It's a tough call. Like, you want to put your best guys on the
I don't know. See, so
and I'm not saying punt, obviously, but you have to kind of play the long game if you're Dutch.
In college basketball, though, you get them at home. This is like your only chance to get them at home.
That's a good point.
And you beat them at their place last year. They're going to want that revenge, but you've got the advantage in front of your own crowd. If anything, maybe you try to push Miles Bird to play this one
game, and then take the next couple off.
And then we'll just deal with the consequences afterwards. Now, unfortunately, the next games after Gonzaga
is the tournament
against Creighton. They're pushing the top 10. Oregon is receiving votes, and then the final game could be against Alabama or Houston, who are both top 10 teams. So you got your 4 biggest non-conference games all in a row, all within a week and a half of each other. And while if it's not a disaster, you're going to probably lose a couple of those. If you win 2 of them, you are in great shape to get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. Your strength of schedule, everything rockets through the roof. But if you lose all 4, there's really no more opportunities. Then it's probably we got to win the Mountain West tournament at the end of the year. So
which really changes the whole spectrum of the season.
These are the most important next 4 games for the Aztecs, essentially until March when they go to the Mountain West Conference tournament. You want to win your league. You want to get a good seed in the tournament. So league games are important. You want to raise a banner. But when it comes to your resume, these are the resume building games.
Good point.
And you don't have to win them because the metrics are going to be good win or lose. But you can't expect to make the tournament if you go 0-4 even against these good teams.
Yeah.
So you got to whatever strategy best gets you a couple of wins in these next 4 games. That's the strategy that I think Brian Dutcher has to use. And maybe it's play Miles Bird in this game. Maybe it's try to rest him because you get another week and a day until their next game on Tuesday. That gives them almost 2 straight weeks off to get healthy again. But, if he's not, then you haven't played him in any of these games. I don't know. I'm sure they're going through all the different equations of what's probably best for the team right now.
Yeah, Paulie pulled up. There's no line on the game yet, but ESPN had Gonzaga favored by 67% chance to win.
63-37.
Yeah, which is
2-1 essentially.
Yeah, 2-1, which is pretty good. I mean,
number 4 team in the nation. You'll take those odds.
Take those odds.
You have to.
Yeah, 100%. They could go ice cold. Your defense could shut them down. I mean, there's a lot that could happen. I'm excited for that
their
game.
next 2 games are big ones.
Yeah,
they've got number 4.
Yeah.
The rankings don't come out until Tuesday, so it will be number 4 Gonzaga, and then we'll see what happens in Tuesday's rankings when the poll comes out. But then the next game will be 8 days later, the first game of that Vegas tournament they'll be playing right now. It's number 11 Creighton.
Yep.
And those teams have some history as well.
So, NCAA tournament meetings twice recently, and they've got that big center, Kalkbrenner, who is nasty.
What'd you perked up there?
And then Gonzaga has Nemhard, who was the transfer.
This isn't a joke, by the way.
Nemhard Kalkbrenner?
Nemhard and Kalkbrenner.
Those are the guys that you're facing.
Who wants those tickets?
All right, if you'd like to win a pair of tickets to be there on Monday night at Viejas Arena, this is your chance. 4th caller, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. You can see Nemhard yourself.
Yes, and maybe Brian Wiener will make an appearance, too.
James Dong.
Freddie Testicles will be there. It's going to be great. You're going to love it.
833-288-0973.
He takes me by surprise, and I just go, "You're a deviant," and I know that you know what you're doing.
They're real players.
God.
They're real stars in college basketball.
Freddie Testicles will be out there. He scours the rosters looking for deviant things to say to get a rise out of me.
I mean, it worked.
It did.
All right, I see the lines.
It
The
always
lines
does.
are lighting up. Paulie will take the calls during the break. Good luck.
7-year-old.
All right, we'll come back, wrap things up for Ben and Woods this week on a Friday, either at 9:30 or 5:30 if you're listening on today's replay.
Whatever your pleasure.
During the Gwen and Chris program on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, I ask you again, Paulie. Did we give away the Aztecs tickets? Did
We
somebody
sure
win?
did.
Okay, good. Finally.
Scott going to the Aztecs game.
Scott appropriately waited for me to actually give them away, and then we did, and he will be heading to the Aztecs game.
That's a great prize.
Planning to be there on Monday myself. It is it's such a great
After the Padres season ends, man, we don't have a ton of hot tickets in town.
Yeah, that's one of them.
This is definitely probably the hottest sports ticket in town for the next couple of months, at least.
No doubt.
For this game on Monday night. And I hope the Aztecs give them a good game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Gonzaga is very good. But the fact that we saw San Diego State hit some threes, and again, not a good quality opponent, Occidental, but
a three-pointer is a three-pointer. It doesn't matter.
Making a shot is making a shot.
That's it.
I mean, if you can get they're going to get some open shots against Gonzaga. You got to hit them.
Yep.
And they've shown now the ability to hit some threes, and that is key now in college basketball. If you want to beat a ranked opponent, you're going to have to make your shots. And it's always been a question mark at San Diego State. Perhaps it's a question they can answer affirmatively this season, and promising beginning to the year.
Excited for a Monday night college basketball game. Look at me and how far I've come, Ben.
Exactly.
I'm
proud of you.
I'm like giddy for it.
Proud of you for that. I got my college football lineup still for you.
Yeah.
Get to that right after our last check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Our morning drive is wrapping up on a busy note here, guys. Got the spin out on southbound 15 before Market Street. It's in the center divide. Also collision in Balboa Park, south 163 before the 5. 3 vehicles involved. They're all over to the right shoulder. Westbound King Freeway, 28th Street off-ramp. Got a stalled vehicle partially in lanes. Hamishaw on-ramp to northbound 125. A collision involving a car and a semi. Everything is over to the right shoulder. In the North County, northbound 15 before Deer Springs Road. Still a vehicle accident over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. I hate to tamp down your excitement for my super sexy Saturday college football lineup.
It's not great.
It's not a particularly scintillating Saturday. After basically having a run of like really good matchups week after week, and with realignment and the new playoff format, I've been a big fan of what it's done to the regular season schedule. I think there are more games that have more meaning with a 12-team playoff than a 4-team playoff.
You've never seen lines like this really across the board. I mean, it's going to be...
Now, we could get amazing upsets. It could end up being a terrific day, but...
I was actually thinking about the upset potential for, the top 12 teams, Ben. Do you see a lot in there for the top 12?
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
The most intriguing morning game for me is probably Utah at number 11, Colorado, which is the 9 a.m. game on Fox, which means, 10 a.m. in Colorado? So it's an early start for those Buffalo fans. Now, the Buffs we talked about it earlier this week, having a good second season now under Dion.
Yeah.
They have 2 losses, 1 loss in the Big 12. They're alone in second place, but they're still a game behind undefeated BYU, and they don't play BYU head-to-head. You can't play in these giant conferences. You can't play everybody.
Right.
So it's kind of just the randomness of the schedule, whether you get a certain team on a certain season. It would be great to have them meet in the regular season. They're not going to, but they need to stay in that top 2 for the conference championship game at the end of the year. Could be on track to face BYU. They can't really afford a loss, though, because then they drop into a giant jumble. So they've got to win out. Utah is not, they're near the bottom of the conference, but they nearly beat BYU last week. They had the controversial holding penalty. They
played tough, man.
Kept the drive going on 4th down, ended up losing by a point. So they have the ability to pull off an upset. Colorado's just going to try to avoid that in a early start on Fox on Saturday. Honestly, the middle of the day that's the toughest one. I guess
Alabama against Mercer.
The best game is probably number 22 LSU at Florida. The SEC has gotten so bloated. That's an 8th place team against a 12th place team in the SEC.
Yeah.
That's probably the best game in the middle of the day. It's on ABC. It's not, like I said, it's not the best lineup tomorrow. And then the 4:30 game, ABC is number 7 Tennessee at number 12 Georgia. That one is important. That's, I can't necessarily see Georgia making the playoffs with a 3rd loss, especially if they lose at home. So feels like a must-win for them. And quite honestly, Tennessee, they could drop out of the playoffs with a loss. Even though they're not favored in this game, a loss would still damage their playoff hopes as well. So that's probably the most important game when it comes to playoffs and playoff seeding tomorrow.
Yeah, again, you're talking about some of the biggest lines you've seen all year. You're talking about 30 points, 28.5 points. Penn State's taking on Purdue. They're 28.5-point favorites. Even the Irish are three touchdown favorites over Virginia after dismantling Florida State last week. Alabama, Mercer, there is no line for that game. So you couldn't bet that one if you wanted to right now. But as far as upsets, there's one team in the top 5 that's probably catching the most grief right now, and it's Texas. And I think it's important for Texas to go out and have a monster performance on the road against Arkansas, because
JH in the chat's calling that as his upset. Arkansas over Texas.
It's everyone's looking at Texas going, okay, smoke and mirrors. You got to start rolling teams. They're 13-point favorites right now. Fayetteville's a gnarly place to play. My brother went there. It can be pretty raucous at times. If you're not on your game, they can get you. So that's an interesting game early too.
The late game is San Diego State at UNLV on CBS Sports Network. It's a 7:30 start. Rebels are, I think, over 20-point favorites the last time I checked. A loss would eliminate San Diego State from bowl contention. They'd be 3-7 and losing their 4th in a row. It's almost, likely to happen. Is there any way for Sean Lewis to save this first season? I saw Bryce Miller in UT says he got to win at least 2 of these last 3 and say at least we won one more game than the year before. I don't know that 5-7's generating any excitement or enthusiasm.
You need
San Diego
six?
State.
Six for a
you need
bowl.
6 for a bowl game. So they have to win all 3 to get to a bowl game.
Man.
And they're 20-point underdogs tomorrow on the road at UNLV. So the dream of a bowl game's pretty slim at this point. Is there anything that you can even say is going to be? He lost to New Mexico, which you never do. UNLV is now clearly past you in the conference. I get that the new NIL world is almost impossible for, coaches like Sean Lewis to navigate, but you should be able to navigate it as well as the other Mountain West schools. I get you can't compete with the Alabamas and the Texases.
You shouldn't try.
I'm reasonable, and I understand that. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to compete with the UNLVs and Boise States, Nevada. Your Mountain West opponents don't have more resources than you do. Maybe Boise State has a little bit, but for football, San Diego State needs to at least be a dominant team, regularly getting to the Mountain West Conference championship game. Playing in the bottom of the Mountain West is unacceptable. Every coach gets a grace period. Takes a little while to institute your system, your culture, whatever.
Get a couple of your guys.
But you get your guys, they can leave in 1 year now with
sure.
NIL. You're starting from scratch essentially every season. They need to turn this around pretty quickly.
Paulie, is it weird to hear him read the sexy college football picks and not do it in Papa Roach voice?
Arkansas versus Texas.
Like you did last
Utah,
week.
Colorado. LSU at Florida. I just
better
don't
last
quite have
week.
It was. Well, I had it in my ears.
Well, that can be arranged. We have 10 minutes, so
We don't need to do it again.
It's not.
I don't want to be sounding like you at the end of this show.
No, God, man, I can't believe I made it through this whole show. My
sound
voice
better.
sounds pretty good right now.
It does.
It's like I fought through it.
You've improved over the course of the show.
Sorry, it was so bad earlier. Did not feel good. Does sound much better now. I feel better. Probably because the work week is coming to an end. There we go.
LSU at Florida.
This is my last resort.
She's such a gem.
Arkansas at Texas.
Oh, yes.
We're not going to do this every. I don't want to make this a thing.
I would love to do this
I
every
really
week.
don't want to make this a thing.
I think that at this point,
Tennessee at Georgia.
he says I don't want to make it a thing. He launches right back into some more. Papa Roach's college football picks by Ben Higgins. That is just the greatest thing. It's so organic, and you could have never planned it.
No.
I couldn't have never, ever sat in my office and go, what would be Really, really funny. Ben doing the best picks in Papa Roach voice.
When's that concert? Soon? Later? I forget when they announced it.
They announced it last Friday.
Probably still a little ways away.
But I don't know when the actual show is at Gallagher Square. They need to have you bring them up.
Speaking of Gallagher Square, we talked about it yesterday, the changes coming to the Western Metal Supply Company, the renderings that came out. I saw a quote from Eric Grupner that I actually liked. Said, "We never want Petco Park to look like it's more than 5 years old."
I love that.
So that's a great philosophy. You know, I think it's a challenge, you know. I mean, it's going to get harder and harder as any building ages to keep it looking fresh. But I thought, well, that's a good way to phrase it. You know what? We're going to look around the ballpark every year. And if anything's looking like it's starting, all right, it looks like it's about 7, 8 years old. Time to refresh and make it look good again.
Yeah, freshen it up.
So, you know, they've decided the Western Metal building, which is maybe the coolest element of the ballpark, starting to look its age. Let's update it and make it look fresh again. And that's their plan for this offseason.
I mean, the Gallagher Square thing, when I saw the renderings, I was like, I don't see it. Like, I need to see it, actually. Then when I went out there for the first time, I went, are you joking? This is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So one of the things...
It was actually too good.
As I was like studying the renderings they released for the Western Metal building yesterday, one thing that looked really cool. So if you've ever been to the Loft, which is where Sammy does the pre and the post game show, and they've got the foosball tables and the billiards and
is it foosball?
Foosball is the one where
do they have that?
Yeah, they have that.
Oh, I thought it was just pool.
Well, you know, they have pool, foosball, they have shuffleboard.
Okay.
And maybe some cornhole as well. So with the remodeling, there's going to be this grand staircase that comes from the roof, and you can actually walk down straight into the loft because it's going to be covered, and you can actually walk kind of indoor to outdoor, and I thought that looks really cool.
Yeah, because you can't do that.
No, you know, right now you kind of have to wedge your way in through that, like the side, the side door, or you're coming in the other way that's by that elevator behind the scoreboard. And now they're going to have this like grand entry where you can go from the roof and then you can go up to the roof straight from the loft, which looked really, really cool, at least in the renderings.
I wonder how it's going to affect Sammy Levitt. That's what I want to know. Can he get up there quicker now?
I would like to think that hopefully when they're making their designs include like an area for Sammy to do a show. It doesn't have to be a studio, but you know, he's right now on that table under the American flag of baseballs, but you can have like a spot where Sammy's going to be able to set up every day for the pre and the post game show.
I honestly don't know how he did it sometimes.
No,
I mean,
that place gets
raucous
and packed in there.
Everyone's coming up to him while he's on the air. And
post game when he has to do the on field interview and then
sprint
down
up
the line to the left field corner and take the elevator out.
It's so good. It's like a rite of passage now, or like a tradition at Petco Park.
And you know, one of the changes we talked a little bit about it yesterday as well with the team store, making it easier to get in and out and check out with more checkout stands. Petco Park wasn't designed necessarily with the thought that it was going to have 47,000 people every single night. So they need better in and out, ways to get into spaces, ways to get out of spaces for fans. Not just the team store, but the loft, the roof, more ways to, wider places to walk in and out of these buildings and spaces.
It's crazy too with all the work that they're doing, and they still got, you still got to book concerts and do it. The logistics of it are enough to make you insane. You know what I mean? To think about all of the work that's got to go into it, to have it ready by opening. It's going to be ready by opening day. Like this is it.
Yeah. And knowing how much they like to activate the ballpark using the corporate terminology during the off season, you got to work around all of that. The golf, the links, the holiday Wonderland, the concerts and everything. And you got construction going on, pretty much 24/7 to get this done before the start of opening day.
Well, they did
it's a pretty big project, and they've undertaken another one now this offseason coming up.
100%.
All right, this hour of Ben and Woods has been brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Hey, San Diego sports fans, head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings. Try their new maple chipotle sauce for rich maple sweetness and a mild, smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of kick, check out the new Cajun sauce with a rich blend of spicy and tangy peppers. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go! Are you really going to take your kids to Belmont Park today?
Yeah, unless I can get out of it and try to take them tomorrow. I did not think this thing through.
There's always the sleight of hand you can play with the kids.
It's closed.
Closed is
They closed
They
it.
closed it. It's closed.
It's closed.
You can promise something better.
What's
Deal making? The art of the deal.
So I have to go to Disneyland on Saturday, right? Like I have to
Wouldn't do that either.
One up yourself.
just give them the iPad today. I'm just not feeling it today. It's kind of chilly and wet. It was wet, and the traffic. We got to.
You feel like a bad parent when you just plug them into.
See if
the
you can
iPad.
get him excited for one of those really bad college football games to watch.
Yeah, 100%.
Make it interesting.
Or
Make it a game.
let them watch Tyson and Jake Paul tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, if you guys will just come home and be quiet.
But Bo could interview Tyson.
Yep.
Get him some boxing gloves.
No, we have those.
All right, we're wrapping it up. Woodsy's on his way out. Annie and Elston on their way in. Everybody have a great weekend. For Paulie and Woods, I'm Ben on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.